afternoon, everybody. Happy Saturday to you all. So I figured I'd join in progress instead of making you wait for me to come in later. So we have a runner at first with 2 out. Lindor struck out leading off the game. Soto popped out. And now we have the resurgent Francisco Alvarez, who's up to 11 home runs, hitting 259 for the year. All the talk for the next 2 weeks will probably be if Lindor actually will get traded, who else will be traded, and we're going to probably be sidetracked with the actual baseball being played. But let's hope that the Mets can at least show that they have a little pride and that these young players actually start playing well. This Luzardo has that unbelievable sweeper. He's been magnificent of late. From Peru. He's only 28. Luzardo, Jesus Luzardo was rumored to come to the Mets a couple of years ago. The Mets were interested in him. Seems like the Mets are interested in everybody. This isn't a good matchup for Alvarez. Alvarez isn't really a very good breaking ball hitter. And he swings wildly, and this just isn't a good matchup for him. Luzardo just flings the ball up there. So they moved this game up to 305 because of the smoke. William, first and second, good walk by Alvarez. We'll see what Manaea does today. There was a lot of heavy rain here in Queens early this morning, thunder, and I was doing a show, and you could probably hear the thunder in the background. The thunderstorms have been unbelievable, but actually it probably helped the smoke to flush off. Don Mattingly. I never thought Don Mattingly was all that good a manager, to be honest with you. Great pedigree and great ball player, no doubt, but I never thought he was a great manager. He's a calming force. He actually reminds me of Mendoza. Just there, clueless to what expression he wants to put on his face. Was that fair or foul? Not foul. Carson Benj moved up to 5th here. I think they're going to start getting Benj ready for more of a role in this team in the offensive production next year. 5th to 7th he'll hit, depending on how hard he's going. Tough left-hander. This left-hander, you would think, would be rough on Benj because of that sweeper. He's 1 for 30 with runners in scoring position his last 4 games, Benj, and it's a terrible swing. You start to wonder if maybe the dog days are getting to him, playing a lot more baseball than he's used to playing. And, every at-bat, you're locked in the major leagues. You're facing a major league pitcher. Well, he hung in there. Little bounce out. Made contact. Turner, Schwarber, Harper, bottom of the first. No score. So we'll see how Manaea looks. Should be interesting. All you want to see is development here. We know the playoffs, unless we won 18 in a row. And even if we won 18 in a row, we'd probably pick up 5 or 6 games. We'd still be 5 or 6 out with 4 or 5 teams ahead of us. Be very hard. I always wondered if, with a 1% chance, a 2% chance of making the playoffs, if Andy Green ever led this team. Hey, Travis, ever led this team, miracle, to the playoffs, would they want him to stay as manager? Because he is the talent evaluator. He's going to have young guys up next year as well. Probably Clifford will be up and a couple of the others. Wettinger will probably be up in the pitching staff and a couple of others. But I don't think we have that problem because I doubt this team will make the playoffs. If this Met team ever made the playoffs, they'd win the World Series because that would be the type of run it would be. It would be just in the cards, so to speak. Sean Manaea, 4.58 ERA. He hit an inning. Walks aren't bad. He's walking one every 3 innings. Strikeouts are still there. If you notice the Met left-handers, even Peterson, the strikeout rate was okay. He wasn't missing bats like he had been missing in the past. See, the pitchers that you see now that just are off the ABS box, those are the pitches guys like Manaea and Peterson used to get. Look at that pitch, 2-0. That was the problem. They used to be 2 or 3 inches off the plate and get that call. With the ABS, they can't dance around. And there's a hit. That you can't help. A chopper to third. Bichette did all he could. He only had a shot. And if he barehands it, he probably still doesn't get him. Carl Schwarber. The last time the Mets were here, last month, Schwarber hit 2 homers in 1 inning. I like Schwarber that he's not overly exuberant, though. He doesn't shove it to you. He's all business. He's a good clubhouse guy. That's why the Mets wanted him. Boy, did he turn his career around. When he came up with the Cubs, he was a catcher, left fielder. In the playoffs, he couldn't catch a ball. He was terrible. He's probably 20 pounds heavier then, too. And he really has, over the last 5 years, come a force. And he's a 250 hitter, and I never thought he'd hit 250. And that one's gone too. And it's 2-0. Schwarber owns the Mets. Just lefty on lefty. Why is it when our left-handed hitters go against the lefty, other than Soto, we are made fools of, and they hit it 400 feet? Because our lefties stink. So you're already in a hole without an out. In this inning, you're down 2-0 already. Very nice. You figure this was written in the books that the Philly would win this game. You just hope the Mets don't get embarrassed this game. Unbelievable. You're down so early. It just takes all the steam out of your team. You know, you're down right away. You're going against a team that is probably going to put up 4 more runs or 5 more runs. Couple of good pitches to Bryce Harper. Thing is, they have two lefties that can hit lefties. You got two of the. Yeah, you had to see it coming, William. That didn't take long. Terrible. Almost the upper deck. And he's hit with a pitch, and you already have runner at first. 2-0. It's ridiculous. So disgusting. Yeah, you sit and you watch this game, and you just the shit that they throw up there, the shit that David Stearns made us put up with in this pitching staff. They're not even competitive. They can't get an out. They just can't get an out. You're hitting guys. You're throwing pitches, that are wild pitches. You're giving up 400-foot home runs. Just so disgusting. 11 pitches in, and it looks like we have no shot to win this game already. It's so disgusting. It really is. Put up with this bullshit. This could turn into a 5-0 lead in the first inning within the next 8 minutes. Absolutely terrible. I don't know what the answer is. We know what we're watching here. I come on here and I get upset. And I say, I can't believe that. Mania gives up 3 runs in 5 innings. That's what he does. This might be more. Alex Bowman's coming up. This could be 4-0 in the next 2 minutes. And then you have no shot. I know that it's warm there and the ball flies out of Philly but we don't have those type of hitters. Mania's all over the place already in the first inning. 12 pitches in. He's thrown 2 good pitches. One of them is 400 feet away. Just ridiculous. And Simeon drops the ball for the double play. Unbelievable. There's a double play that's not made because Simeon can't. It's just ridiculous. I've seen enough of Simeon. Simeon can't play anymore. Simeon got old very fast. Simeon was a Gold Glove player last year. Now he's a below average fielder now, Simeon. That's what happens when you're 35. When you're 35, 34 to 35, Robbie Alomar, I think, was 33 when the Mets got him. He had come off an MVP-type season, 25 homers, 100 RBIs, 30-something doubles, 30 stolen bases I think he had. He hit 300. Came to the Mets, couldn't do anything 6 months later. You get old in your 30s very quick, and when you get an injury, you age. Usually when you get your first injury after 30, they keep on coming. Your body just has changed after 30 as a pro athlete. They pile up the injuries. But not Marcus Simeon, look. Hey, John, how are you? I guess Ewing is not a second baseman because they would make him a second baseman. Boy, I bet you they wish they had Jet Williams now. Jet Williams would be playing second. Simeon would be your mentor off the bench. Sosa didn't look too good on that swing. What, did he drop the bat? Did he get hurt? It looked like Sosa just dropped the bat and walked to the clubhouse, to the dugout. Did he get hurt? Brandon Marsh, he's had a comeback year. Brandon Marsh, I didn't realize his father always had short hair, and his father passed away, and this is a tribute to his father. Ball's thrown all over the place. William, you're right. They have nothing consistent. The only thing that they have consistent is that they're inconsistent. That's the only thing that's consistent. And I feel bad for Mania. Mania seems like a good dude. My friend Jeff, who works for the Mets in spring training, he's with all the players. He shuttles them around. He's met Mania. He was the one that told Mania to get the haircut. Now, I don't know if Mania listened to him, but he was joking around about that, Jeff. He said Mania is a really good guy. But you know what? You can have a bunch of good guys. I want to win baseball games. I don't care if the guys aren't nice. Mania seems to have found a bit of a rhythm now. 21 pitches in, there's 2 out. If he could limit the damage to 2-0 here, it's not the worst thing in the world. Good pitch. All right. Usually they say when you have to get to a good pitch, you get to him early. I don't know if you consider Mania a good pitcher, but they got to him early with a 2-run homer. And the guy that hits the home runs for this team hit the home run, Schwarber. So shouldn't be that surprising. What does Schwarber hit? 5 home runs against the Mets this year already? The problem is, William, too many games end non-competitive. That's the problem. That they're just not competitive. Well, we'll see what happens. The game's not over yet. So I'm going to go down and make a cup of coffee because I didn't plan on being here with you throughout the game. So I will be back in a couple of minutes. Thank you all for coming in. Let me put this up so people know, like a store owner, that I'm going to the bathroom or something, that I'm coming back. Let me pin that. Let me show it. John, I wish I could. I certainly would, my friend. Check this backdrop I'm going to put up. You'll like it. This is one of my better backdrops, but it's too much me when I'm sitting here with it on. But it's actually, I think, a pretty good one. I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, everyone. So I'm back, and I am joined by my friend, the analyst. How are you, man? Oh, okay. Let me just get the speaker here. Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you for coming in. The Mets are losing 2-1 as advertised. Thanks for coming in. First off, interestingly enough, Trey Turner just made his 14th error. What do you think's going on with him at shortstop? Because he was a premier player at one time.
Um, I don't know. I mean, he's not a kid anymore. He's 33 now. He's kind of like Lindor, same thing. I think they just, comes with age. But he's still a good player. I think he's having a bad year, but I wouldn't just say he's finished. He still hit 300 last year. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think he's had a great year.
The interesting thing with him is he either has a really good year or a really bad one. There's no in between. You ever notice that with him? Like he hits 320,
Really?
he'll win the batting title, then he'll hit 230 with 30 errors the next year, then he'll come back and have a great year. See, Lindor's been a lot more. The reason why I think Lindor's the better shortstop, Lindor has had a much more stable career than Trey Turner.
I don't think so. Turner's lowest average ever was 266, and besides that, it was 271. Like he's always even a bad year is 290, 280 for him. Either way, I mean, I think he's just having a subpar year. I wouldn't read too much into it.
Well, you look at their stats. Turner's played 1,360 games. Lindor 1,571. Career average: Turner 293, Lindor 272. OPS is about the same, slugging percentage about the same, and OPS about the same. Home runs, Lindor has him by 100. RBIs, he has him by a couple of hundred. Walks, about the same. Strikeouts, about the same. Lindor has a WAR of 55.9 compared to 41.6. And his defensive WAR, Lindor for his career 14.4 and Turner only 5.5. So
Yeah, I mean,
big difference.
Yeah, I mean they're similar hitters. I don't read into the RBIs as much because Turner's a leadoff hitter.
I think that the key difference probably is Lindor's more of a power hitter, a little higher OPS.
Lindor is more of a, not that he totally should be, but he's more of a, what's the word? Run producer. Turner's more of a setup.
Are you
a table setter?
Are you surprised that Lindor's defensive value is that much higher, double?
Yeah, but I also am not a huge believer in the defensive metrics. Defensive metrics also told you Gio Urshela wasn't good and he was unbelievable.
Yeah,
I believe in hitting metrics more than defense because I mean, Keith Hernandez is negative defensive metrics, does he not? So
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I don't think they're perfectly used yet. Metrics I'd rather see in a hitter would be like, barrel rate, contact rate, things like that. Like those, I think you can't mess up because it is just what it is. You can, if you see the ball at the barrel, okay, it's a barrel. But to me, there's just no way you can ever say, oh, he's this because he walked this way and went to his left. It cost him 0.2 runs. I don't know. I don't love defensive metrics.
It's interesting. And Lindor strikes out again, and he's frustrated. I'll tell you something. I was talking to someone who knows some of the Mets, and they feel that Lindor's broken mentally. They feel that he'll never come back to his playing salad days with the Mets. They think he can rebound if he goes somewhere and is happy, but they feel that with the Mets it's done. What do you think?
Yeah, I could agree with that.
The captaincy killed him. And I was also told off the cuff, the guy winked at me. So I don't know what if that means anything in your circles, where the guy winked at me. And I don't know if the wink at me was, I'm not supposed to be telling you this or what, but he said that Lindor has fought with his wife, and that Lindor does blame his wife for him not getting the captaincy. And there's been a little problem in the household. Not terrible, but Lindor kind of blames his wife for not being named captain. And that's a lot of the issue with his mental problems, that he's having problems at home as well. And then he winked at me. Do you think that's a possibility? Because you would think he would blame his wife. They started making the PR department a video for him to be captain. He was definitely very close to Cohen. Do you think that he feels maybe that Cohen kind of stabbed him in the back? That Cohen, his new shiny toy was Soto? After Lindor came and he was the fair-haired child, and Cohen was going to have Lindor lead them to the promised land, and all of a sudden now it's Soto's the new toy, and he feels maybe, I don't know, stabbed in the back by Cohen. You promised me everything. You're not even making me team captain now, and you're building around Soto. You left me off a trade list, and that wasn't unintentional when they said the players that aren't tradable, and they left him off the list. That is not a mistake. That was put out there to show teams, look, don't call us with ridiculous offers, but we will listen. And that has to hurt Lindor. Wouldn't you think that he feels that they kind of backdoored him, this organization?
Yeah, maybe a little
And would he
bit.
blame his wife for this? Because honestly, I don't think if he's not married to that woman, I don't think this all happens. Honestly, they were talking about, first of all, Nemo's wife was a very big Trump supporter. And Alonso's wife was as well. And unbelievably, the three Republicans get traded. It's not a good look. Your wife doesn't go to I was told she did not show up at Pete Alonso's wife's baby shower, and that Nemo's wife got in her face about it and said, we're a team. And she said she was busy because she's an aspiring lawyer, I think, Lindor's wife. But they knew she was full of shit. And I think that I don't think Lindor caused a lot of this, honestly. I think Lindor has to stick up for his wife. Look, you got to stick up for your wife. And I think that I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's a stylish guy. But I think that his wife caused a lot of this issue. What do you think?
I mean, there's no way to really fully know.
Well, they're talking about the politics, and then she's on the front page with Mamdani. What does that tell you?
Yeah, I mean, she's probably I'm sure she's a problem there, but who's to say Lindor doesn't agree with her? So I don't think it's just. I don't think it's just his wife thing. I think it's also a Lindor thing.
Well, I think Lindor might have agreed with her, but kept it out of the clubhouse. Like, I can't see Lindor not going. Well, put it this way: I don't think Lindor would stay away from a Pete Alonso bachelor party.
No, me neither. Lindor is also another one who's very. Who's he's a clear head. You're down by 10 runs in the 8th inning. You're 25 games under 500, and you're sitting there fucking smiling like he's an idiot.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now let's just look at the Yankees. Then we'll go back to the Mets. I know you're a Yankee fan. You follow the Yankees. Do you think it would be prudent for the Yankees to maybe try to go get an outfielder? I'll tell you why. Because I can see a scenario where Aaron Judge comes back September 1st, swings one at bat, and re-injures that. And then he's gone for the year. Do you think the Yankees, they've already shown they don't have the lineup without Judge to win. Would you maybe go get yourself a big-time outfielder?
Well,
or even Trout. Maybe, look, you have
never go get him because it's just, you can't make it work. But I don't think that would ever happen with Judge because they're never going to put him in a position to swing the bat until they know he's 110% healthy.
Yeah, but you know what? You could be healthy with those injuries, and it appears.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Judge, honestly. I don't think he'll be back until probably September 1st, but after that, I don't think there's any worry. I think they're 1,000,000% getting a catcher. It's just a matter of if it's going to be Goodwin or Jeffers, one of the two of them. There's a huge rumor the last couple of days from Rosenthal, Passan, Heyman, Sherman, and Madden, who gets his info directly from Randy Levine, I believe, and a lot of other people believe that.
Right.
But, and for anyone who doesn't know who Randy Levine is, he's the president of the Yankees, that they're going to be first in line for Mason Miller if and when he's moved. So I think that I'm not convinced Miller will be moved, but if he is, I believe he will be a Yankee. And now you'll have your closer so that.
I don't think you have enough hitting on that team.
I mean, they definitely do. They're the best lineup in the AL. It's just the lineup's extremely injured, and you're missing the best player of the generation. So anyone's lineup would suffer like that. Look what happened when Ohtani went out and Hernandez was out. The Dodgers struggle. It's baseball. They have the hitting. The problem is when you're missing guys like the Yankees already have a few fully healthy Yankees, right? Wells is a problem. Their shortstop position is a problem. And McMahon, hit or miss, I'm going to call him a problem too because he's not a great hitter. He's there for his defense. That's 3 lineup spots that are problems, right? Now take out Judge and don't forget Stanton, who's good for 40 and 100. You're taking out your 3 and 4 hitters. So now you have 5 spots out of 9 that are a huge problem. So that's not saying the Yankees aren't good enough. Oh, and they're still first in runs, by the way. But that's just saying that's not a team that's not good enough. That's a team that's hurt. So, you get your catcher, you get Judge back, you get Stanton back. You're going to get potentially a shortstop. People like to run with narratives. Like, I don't love the Yankee bullpen personally myself, but all you hear about is, the bullpen sucks. The Yankees have the number 1 bullpen ERA in baseball. Would
you take Torrens and Weaver?
No, because Torrens doesn't move the needle at all. I take Weaver. But that's the thing. And you have to compare them. It's like comparing to your peers, right? So when people say, "Oh, well, Volpe or Caballero," neither of them are any good. When you want to talk about actual winning shortstops, Caballero's a utility player, and Volpe sucks. But the thing is, those are your only 2 options. So which one's better? So when you're looking at the Yankees, who's better? And no one's better than the AL. It's not even close. I'm talking a healthy Yankee team.
Right.
It's not even close. And the only team you could say is better in baseball is the Dodgers. You have an argument for Atlanta, but the Yankees are probably better.
Can I tell you something? I don't think Atlanta's going to make the playoffs.
And they're going to win the division.
I think Atlanta's shot. I really do.
Atlanta's 20 games over 500.
I think they were too hurt. I don't have any faith in Atlanta. First of all, I think Phillies are going to catch Atlanta.
Let me see the standings. I mean, Philly could. No, I think either way, Atlanta's making the playoffs.
How much are they up by?
They're 3 up on Philly. They're 16 over.
Yeah.
And Atlanta's not even fully healthy yet either. I mean, Atlanta's great.
Yeah, but they're never. But they're never healthy.
But they've been healthy this year. I think the only thing that hit them was the Strider injury, and he's either back or coming back. But yeah, I mean, they're a great team. They have a great bullpen now with Suarez and Iglesias. But yeah, I mean, if I had to bet money now, assuming the Yankees make the moves we know that they always do at the deadline, and that Cashman will fix the few holes they have, I fully expect another Yankee-Dodger World Series. Could everything happen? Could anything happen where a team gets hot and beats you in a 5-game series? Sure, but that's not a testament of the Yankees or Dodgers. That's just sports and baseball in general. But if you're going to make a smart bet on who it's going to be, I would bet those 2 right now will be in the World Series again.
Yeah,
honestly, Philly's a good team too. The problem with Philly is they have a lot of swing and miss in their lineup, and when you're playing a team like the Dodgers, it kind of gets exposed. It works in the regular season, but in the playoffs,
I just, I think they're going to rotate Grissom and Schumann. They'll use
Rosario won't be on the roster.
Well, right now, I think they'll rotate Rosario and McMahon. Rosario's terrific,
yeah.
And but I think the Yankees are a bit short, honestly.
Well, that's because you're a Mets fan. Let's be honest.
No. I truly think that the Yankees. First of all, I don't think the Yankees have a shot without Judge.
Well, yeah, but that's any team. I agree. Right now, they're short because 3 of their starting 9 are out. But
I think that Dodger. I think the Philly or Dodger pitching staff would sweep the Yankees, or win in 5 against.
Don't forget, no matter who you put the Yankees up against. So, let's say the Dodgers, right?
They just can't hit the Yankees. They don't hit.
But see, you say that, but they're the number one offense in the sport. So how can you say that?
Look at how many. It seems like every game they lose 2-1. When they
hurt,
face
and
good
they're
pitching,
still
they don't
those
score any runs. Though
that's not true either. Let me pull up a stat and I'll show you. Give me a second.
Washington had them beat. They only went after a bad Washington bullpen. Washington should have swept them.
Yeah, but
They couldn't score. They couldn't score off marginable Washington pitchers.
But then what are you going to say when they beat the shit out of Schoolbowl? You know,
that was one game though. That was one game.
But okay, and it was one series. You can't you can't just like cherry pick series.
No,
like
but
that.
they've look at some of the series they've played this year.
I'm going to show you a thing.
They've looked bad some of these series.
No, I mean, yeah, but that's baseball. They look bad because you're in New York watching them. Every team can say the same thing.
Could be.
Here, and I mean, I know for a fact because I saw a stat. I'm trying to find it. I can probably have it saved in my bookmarks. I purposely saved it just for moments like this.
For guys like me.
No, even from Yankee fans who say things. But I have to find it. Give me a minute.
The Yankees have the 10th rated offense. They score 4.77 runs a game.
Yeah, and that's with all the injuries. How about in the American League?
I don't know. I know Washington has an unbelievable hitting team.
Yeah, they just can't
do you know who really surprised me with their lineup? The National League Pirates.
Yeah, they made a lot of good signings. They're not great, but they're good enough, kind of.
And the Cubs are dangerous. And Minnesota's been playing great. Minnesota's had a good lineup lately. You know who really fell off the A's? Everybody was on the A's bandwagon. Remember last month?
Yeah, well, they just don't have the pitching. That's their problem.
Yeah. But do you think the White Sox are for real?
No. I mean, I think they're good. I don't think they're like.
How did they go from 120 losses in 2 years to a team that's going to win 90 games?
They have good young talent, and it's finally showing.
Who's their manager?
I don't even know who their manager is.
Because I tell you, their manager's done a great job.
I'm trying to find this. I have to find it because you'd be so surprised.
And the White Sox just show you how a team can rebound in 3 years. They lost 102 games last year, 121 and 24. This year, they're probably going to win 88 games. That's almost a 30-game improvement. That's unbelievable. Their OPS plus is tremendous. They have a 750 OPS. The whole 738, the whole lineup. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm very curious to see who the manager is there. Oh, Will Venable. He's young. He's only in his mid-40s. I remember him as a player.
I don't think he played that long ago.
No. 15 years ago. Yeah, Will Venable was good. He was a good platoon player. He played for the Giants.
Trying, because this is such a good stat. I know I'll find it.
Getting to the Mets, what do you think of while you're doing your investigative process there? What do you think of? Do you think Stearns take the money out of it?
I found it.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay, let me see if there's an updated one here. Okay, so this one's not even updated the last few starters they've hit. But your argument, right, is they don't hit good pitching.
Consistently they don't.
Right. So if you look, let me see if I can pull up a even more recent one because I know there are more than these.
Fried's on his way back.
Yeah. Okay, here's one from last week. Ready? So the Yankees don't hit good pitching, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Here's them against 20 aces this year. Ready? 7 off of Webb in 5 innings, 5 off of Gilbert in 5 innings, 4 off of Kirby in 6, 3 off of Early in 5, 7 off of Reagans in 4, 4 off of Suarez in 4, 5 off of Bradish in 4, 6 off of DeGrom in 6 with no Ben Rice, 5 off of Gore in 5, 4 off of Holmes in 4, 5 off of Cease in 5, 3 off of Peralta in 5, 4 off of Gavin Williams in 5 with no Judge.
When was that, though? When was it?
This season. And these are all with no Judge now. 4 off Williams in 5, 5 off Messick in 5.2, 5 off Savage in 5, 9 off Martin in 3, 4 off Myers in 5.2, 4 off Skubal in 6, 3 off Jackson 5, 6 off Rasmussen in 2. That's all without Judge. Those are all aces and at worst number 2s, except for Holmes, who's probably number 3. So for the Yankees don't hit good pitching crowd, it's the most ridiculous false narrative ever. And that's not even including the bullpens they've hit. So that's why I tell you, like, it's like when we have the conversation about the Rangers, right? You go, oh, and when I say you, I mean anyone who.
No, I know what you're saying. I know.
Oh, the Rangers are the only team that does this. No, they're not. They're just the team you're watching the most. It's because you're glued to them. You're in New York, you're a Ranger fan, you're watching the Rangers. They're not the only team that misses open nets. They all do it. So it's the same process with the Yankees. When you actually look at the numbers behind it, the Yankees hit good pitching. The Yankees actually struggle against the no-name pitchers. And part of the reason probably is because I know the Yankees have the tragic machine downstairs, and they're at home. And what that machine is you can put, you ever see, like, they have it sometimes at fan fests, it's like a giant screen and there's a hole in the screen and you're watching and it mimics the player's motion and the ball comes out of the hole.
No, I don't think so.
So the Yankees have a giant machine. It's at home. They don't have it on the road. And it's basically, think of it like a Top Golf machine, right? Like a giant projector thing. And on the video is any player in baseball they want, any pitcher. And they can put the release point wherever they want. They can put, it's fully customizable. So they can say, for example, we're playing Yamamoto today. They will put Yamamoto on that machine, set it to where the spin rates and everything are exactly what Yamamoto does. And in the batting cage, it's like they're facing Yamamoto with the same movement he presents, same speed, everything.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's probably part of the reason why the Yankees do hit good pitching, because they have that advantage. I don't know if every team has it, but I know the Yankees have it, where they literally, before they go out and face an ace, they've probably taken 3 at-bats each, even on that machine that's going to show similar stuff.
That's something.
Yeah, so you can't bring it on the road with you. It's built into the thing. But I know they have it at home. So... yeah, so the Yankees, like, they're flawed just like every other team. But when you compare them to every other team, I would take no one in baseball over them, health permitting, than Dodgers, especially after what they're going to do at the deadline.
I'll give you my predictions. I think the Yankees are going to get Jeremy Pena from Houston. They're going to swap Volpe. And I think, I think that I don't. First of all, San Diego's going to hold you to the fire for Miller. They're not giving away Miller. I think that you're probably going to trade Jason Dominguez in a deal to get either Joe Ryan or Jose Soriano.
I don't think Minnesota's going to move Ryan because they're somehow in the wild card.
I'll tell you who would work out very well for you. The Yankee lab, Reed Detmers.
Detmers isn't bad. I think the Yankees have so many prospects they have to deal because of the 40-man crunch. They have enough room to do whatever they want. So, I mean, I think they're going to get one of Jeffers or Goodman. One of those two will be the starting.
If you're the Mets, do you try to get George Lombard Jr. and trade Alvarez over to the Yankees?
I think the Yankees would never do that. They already said Lombard's off limits even for Mason Miller, so that they would never do it for Alvarez.
I don't believe them. I think if they called tomorrow and said, we'll give you Mason Miller, they say that because they don't.
Nah, the Yankees wouldn't do it. They don't operate that way. He's a top 10 prospect in baseball. They're not going to do it.
I think you need a definite upgrade at shortstop. You need bullpen help.
Well, the thing is, so that's the thing. Like, I don't like their shortstop situation. They need one.
What happened to like, how is Volpe? Could Volpe go somewhere and end up being the star that he was supposed to be?
Yeah, and he's great defensively, so that's why they like him. So, like, you can live with Volpe as your shortstop. The thing is, you can't live with Volpe as your shortstop when you have 5 other guys in the lineup who aren't doing anything.
What happened with Volpe?
He's just not hitting like people thought he would. His defense is there. He has a platinum glove,
right?
So he's a plus player because of it. You could deal with Volpe. Like, if let's say Judge and Stanton come back, they're healthy, they go get a real catcher, right? Now all of a sudden Volpe's your only hole in the lineup. You could deal with that because he's going to give you Gold Glove defense. And if you don't like what Volpe's doing, then Caballero.
You know who would have been great for you? I'll give you a catcher that I think you'd possibly win the World Series if you got him.
Who?
I don't think they'd make the move. Real Muto. If you ever had Real Muto with your pitching staff, this guy is a magician with pitchers. That's why they signed him, Philly. You would only sign him if you relied on starting pitching. I think he would upgrade your team just so much. Not even talking with the bat, where he'd probably hit 240 or 250, but he would just make your relievers much better. But I don't think Philly would do it.
Wells. No, Philly wouldn't because they're trying to win too. But like, Wells' problem isn't the defense. He's the best catcher, I believe, defensive runs saved in baseball. I think he's number 1 or number 2. The problem is he doesn't hit. So when you're looking at it for an upgrade, you need someone who could hit. So like someone like Hunter Goodman, right?
Yeah.
From Colorado, he's good for 35 and 100. So
Dominguez for him? Dominguez and someone else?
I think for him, he's team controlled.
Would you give Lombard for him?
No, I think that trade would probably be like Spencer Jones to Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, Hess, which is another top pitching prospect who's comparable to like kind of like what Sprout was, a little worse than Sprout, and maybe like Roger Arias or something like that. It's going to cost you a lot, but he's worth it. He's a top 3 catcher in the league, and you'd have him for years.
Would you try to get Aroldis Chapman back?
I've thought about it. I don't. I mean, they hate him and vice versa.
I'll tell you someone that you should get: Luis Ariz.
Yeah, that's the guy I'm looking at.
He'd turn your lineup upside down.
Yeah, and I think they'll be interested in him. We've heard his name. I could also see a world where they get Ariz, and the Yankees have been known to. Not my favorite thing about them, but they have been known to play players out of position a little bit.
Yeah.
So they very well might be the team that's like, you know what, we need to fix shortstop. We can't get a shortstop. Get a Rise, put him at second, move Jazz back to third, and let McMahon play short. And he's a Gold Glover. We'll figure it out. Like, they've already put McMahon at short in the past, so I think that's definitely an option they could do. But I think Arise would be a perfect fit for them. Even just to come off the bench as a pinch hitter, he's better than a guy like Rosario, and Rosario's not bad, but Arise is better than him.
Yeah, I think Arise. Joe Ryan, I think, would really be good for you, but you need really bullpen help.
Yeah, I mean, the bullpen help automatically comes once Fried's back, as Weathers goes in there. But I think they need 2 relievers. Like, I think they'll definitely get 2 relievers and a catcher. I think they'll probably look for another bat somewhere, whether that's shortstop or a bench bat like a Steer or someone like that.
You know who would be good for you? Tyrone Taylor.
He doesn't hit enough. We have Tyrone Taylor if we want him. You got like Spencer Jones could do that. Those guys don't move the needle at all. I know what you mean, like just to get depth, but they don't really need depth. They have it with Jones and Dominguez. So to me, I'm like, going into a playoff series, again, health permitting with every team, they're going to be the favorites on pitching because even against the Dodgers, the Yankees have better pitching than them. So, I mean, actually, the Dodgers, I think, could match up with them. But either way, it's only those 2, and they wouldn't meet until the World Series. So any team the Yankees are going to play in a series, you're not going to get a better 4 than Schlittler, Fried, Cole, and Rodon. And that's assuming they don't even add another starter, which they might do.
I'm still waiting for Trout to be traded. You know what would be a good trade, a fair trade? Trout to the Phillies for Gage Wood and Justin Crawford.
I mean, Trout's a Philly kid, so he's been.
But can you for Gage Wood and Justin Crawford? That would be a good trade. Those two kids would be stars for the Angels.
Yeah, I don't know why why they're even holding him. Or maybe it's a him thing, or he doesn't want to move. I don't know.
He probably doesn't. You know what I noticed?
What a wasted career.
Do you know what I noticed though? And tell me if you see this. It seems like teams that are out in the West Coast very rarely want to come all the way to the East.
Yeah, it's weird for him though, because he's from here.
I'll tell you why. I was told this by John Franco. You know, I knew him. And Johnny originally was in the Dodger organization. Was traded for Rafael Landeskog because the Dodgers had like 4 lefties ahead of him, and he asked for a trade. Usually, this is interesting. If you come from New York and you love the seasons, there's no seasons in LA. If you love the seasons here, you're not willing to give up Christmas and all of that, Thanksgiving. If you're from California, you're not willing to give up the sunshine. So your whole life has been based on shorts, T-shirts, and never having to deal with inclement weather. Your activities for your whole year pretty much never change unless you get injury. You bike ride, you do everything, and it never changes unless you can't do it anymore. In New York, you're more apt to go out away to LA. Darryl Strawberry, players like that. Mostly players from the West Coast don't come to New York. Think about it. Who's the last big West Coast player that came to New York? Don't happen.
Yeah.
But from New York, you've had enough of the winters. You're getting a little older. You'll go out to LA. You'll have 24/7 sunshine. You'll have, beautiful places to play there. I could put you 20 minutes from the city, any beautiful neighborhood there is there. Where in New York, really, you're not in New York. In New York, if you don't live in Long Island, either you're going to Connecticut, New Jersey, you're not living in New York. There aren't many great neighborhoods in New York. Where out in LA, I could put you in Encino, 40 minutes from the stadium where Michael Jackson lived. I could put you in Sherman Oaks. I could put you in beautiful places. You have so much of a different lifestyle there. So I think that happens. But I think that the Yankees, I think Dominguez is star. Look at Dominguez and Volpe. If I would have told you
Dominguez is a totally different thing.
But if I told you those guys were not going to do what you thought,
but that's it. Yeah, but they're not the same. Like Volpe's a bust for what people thought.
But is Volpe a bust if he'd hit 20 homers and knocking 70 as a shortstop and hit 220 with Gold Glove?
He's a bust compared to people's expectations.
But what did they expect from him? How many shortstops right now that have platinum glove and go 20-70? How many?
No, I agree. As a player, I'm talking just as a hitter right now. But as a hitter, he's too underwhelming. Dominguez, mind you, he had no minor league career.
Yeah.
And he had 3 freak injuries where every time he got a chance, he was out.
I thought he was going to be Darryl Strawberry.
But if you like go to his numbers and stuff with no minor league experience, and he's still 22 years old, he averages 21-70.
You know what he would be perfect for? A team like Minnesota, a team like Oakland that's moving. Oh my God!
Just like I told you with Lafreniere,
what a career he had.
If Dominguez stays healthy and gets an actual chance to play, remember he got pushed out because Grisham just became all of a sudden really good. If you give him that chance to play with the Yankees, he's going to be a star. You're going to get 25 and 80. You're going to get 35 stolen bases. You're going to get a 370 on base percentage. I'm telling you,
that's an all-star player.
Yeah, he lines the ball all over the place. He makes runs happen that really the only other guy on the roster that could do it would be Jazz because of the speed, maybe Caballero. But I'm telling you, like that's a player when you watch every game and you look at his numbers, you're like, yeah, they're kind of underwhelming for what everyone thought he'd be. They're very underwhelming. But when you look at what actually went down there and what his numbers are when he actually plays extended stretches.
He's terrible defense.
Different.
He's terrible defensively.
Yeah, that's
he's as bad defensively in the out. He's Mark Vientos in the outfield.
Yeah, which is weird because he's a way better athlete.
Great athlete. Yes, Vientos is a terrible athlete. Dominguez is a great athlete.
Yeah, Dominguez beat like Bobby Witt Jr. I forgot what the number was, but Bobby Witt Jr. had the fastest sprint time in baseball. Dominguez beat it. Like, he's an insane athlete, and he's kind of like Trout. Like, you look at them, they're a little stocky, and somehow they're like extremely fast and nimble. But you'd never think it just looking at a picture of them. But yeah, I mean, that's the player where, just like I told you with Lafreniere, let him play, and all of a sudden, look what happens. He's going to be a star. Volpe's never going to be a star. Volpe could be a starter, but
you don't know that. Look at Justin Turner. He became an all-star. At 28 years old, 27.
I mean, yeah, Volpe could make an all-star. Yeah, but I wouldn't have. Yeah, but I mean, Volpe could make an all-star team, but I don't think Volpe's ever going to hit 280. Dominguez, just like I said with Lafreniere, totally different case. He hasn't failed. He's still a work in progress because of all the circumstances that happened with him. Grisham coming up and pushing him down. He didn't get the chances he was supposed to. Injuries happen. He gets 3 different chances, runs into a wall, separates his shoulder. It's been no minor league career because of COVID. Finally went down to the minors, hit 350. Everything worked against him.
Yeah.
So I fully believe if and when he finally gets a full chance, you're going to see Dominguez and go, oh, wow, he is as good as advertised. I don't think he's going to be, like they said, the next Mike Trout and what's his name, Bo Jackson.
Right.
Probably not, but those were stylistic comparisons. I think you're going to see a player who you're just like, damn, he's really good. So that's why I would trade Spencer Jones if it was between the two of them and you had to trade for like Goodman or someone like that. Jones is the one I'd move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting.
I don't even know when the deadline is. I think it's in 2 weeks. I think it's the 3rd.
August 3rd.
Yeah. So what's that? 2 weeks from Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll see things start picking up. The problem is too, there aren't a lot of sellers because there's so many teams just hacked into wild cards that it's kind of made it a market that's not great. Like, the only teams that are really out of it in the AL are like the A's, the Royals, and the Angels. And the only teams that are really out of it in the NL are like the Mets, Giants, and Rockies. So there's just really not a lot of, like a team like Washington, right? They have pieces they could sell, and they're not going anywhere. They're not good enough. But they're only 3 out of a wild card, so they're not going to sell.
Well, they have they have the worst relief pitching I've seen in 10 years.
Yeah, they're terrible.
I mean, every guy has an ERA of 6.
But like, you look at a team like the Marlins. The Marlins aren't good enough to go do anything in the playoffs, but and they have relievers to sell like that. They don't have a bad roster, but they're not playoff good. But this year they're tied for the 3rd wild card spot, so they're not going to sell. Yeah. So it's created a thing where that's why these next 2 weeks will be big because no one knows who's actually selling, and you might get some teams that sell but not sell big.
Right. See, that's the thing. You have 2 weeks before the deadline. If a team goes 1-8, they're automatic. They're buyers instead of sellers. And they're sellers instead of buyers. Think about it. A team, if they went 1-9, they could go from 2 out to 7 out.
Right. And you get a team like Pittsburgh, for example. Pittsburgh, everyone's like, oh yeah, they'll be better, but they'll have some good pieces to sell at the deadline. Pittsburgh's 1 out; they're not going to sell.
No.
So a team like Pittsburgh, they might do something where it's like, hey, or like San Diego's a great example. Let's say San Diego, they're. I
told you San Diego was no good.
Well, San Diego's good. They were just banged up, and that's why they're a 500 team right now.
They're 10 under.
But they're 1 under.
I thought they were 10 under.
No.
Oh, they've been 10 under over the last. They were 8 over at one time.
Yeah, they got hurt. That's what happened. So So like San Diego's a great example where they have a ton of relief pitching, but they need help in the lineup. So maybe a trade like that makes sense where they're like, you know what, we can use a bat. Like, who's to say there's a world like Jazz Chisholm, right? He's going to be a free agent. I don't think the Yankees want that marriage long term.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? He's a terrific player. Why don't they want him?
It's just, but like, for example, let's say they get a rise, right? Now Jazz is expendable. So to me, I'm like, let's say there's a world they get a rise. Who's to say the Padres and Yankees don't go, you know what? We both need help. Jazz for more, John. Now the Yankees get a top reliever and the Padres get lineup help. So like a team like the Padres, like it's like buying and selling at the same time. So you might see a few teams like that this year. Another team like that could be the Cardinals. The only teams that are really like Philly, for example, they're only 2 up in the wild card. Philly's fantastic. They're not falling out of that if they're healthy. So a team like Philly's never going to do that.
I'll tell you, Philly's a team that doesn't impress me with their lineup. They don't hit.
Well, they hit. The problem is Phillies have a lot of their players have holes in their swing. So when you're going to a team like a thing like against the Dodgers in the playoffs, they don't hit because they're not. Like, Philly's a great slugging team where over 162 they'll make the playoffs single-handed just because of that.
Right.
That alone. But when you're facing good pitching and you can't really string 3 hits together and you're hoping for the 3-run homer,
that's the problem.
It's harder to come by.
You see, Jeter took a shot at the Mets with Alonso.
Yeah, I love him.
He's such a dick. Did he have to do that? Why would he have to do that?
He it wasn't terrible.
Why do it at all?
I mean, it was at the fan fest, so I mean, Met fans were there yelling, saying,
I guess. I'll tell you something. Atlanta, who needs, I'll tell you who I would go after if I were you. I'd go after AJ Minter.
I mean, that's the Yankees.
He's been there before. You got to remember, he has a lot of play. See him over Raley because he has the playoff experience.
Yeah, but they don't really need the lefties. The Yankees need a power righty.
Yeah, but he's also both, like Raley gets righties out also if you wanted Raley.
The player that makes the most sense from them would be Weaver.
Even after having him, though?
Yeah, just because he's a guy they need a righty, and he can at least Weaver's not bad, even though he's inconsistent. That the organization loves him. So that's a guy who I think if one guy from the Mets was going to be a Yankee, he's given up 1 run in almost 3 months. Yeah. Speaking of guys who hardly give up runs now, it's amazing what Paul Blackburn is.
That's incredible. Well, Blackburn, I'll tell you, before he got hurt, he was very good with the Mets. Then he got hurt.
Was he?
And yes, and then when he came back, he was no good. But in his first, let's see, fly out. Paul Blackburn, I don't know if you can go to it, but I remember him being very successful with the Mets, then getting hurt.
Blackburn's given up 12 runs this year in almost 50 innings. He's a 2.17 ERA.
That's amazing.
He's given up 1 run in July. He gave up 2 runs in June. He gave up 4 runs in May, and 3 of them were in 1 game. I can't believe it, honestly, because even when they first got him, I'm like, why are they wasting a roster spot on this?
Yeah, he's a career 4.5 ERA guy.
Yeah,
no strikeout. He doesn't strike anybody out really.
Let me see what his
FIP is over. His strikeout per 9 is about 6.7
this year.
6.7. It's usually about 7.5, so he's a little down. He might have just learned how to pitch now.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he was a guy that a lot of teams use as a long man to clean up those bad innings when you're out of a game. It wasn't for him.
I'm starting to think a lot of it is pitch sequencing. When you teach a guy how to use their pitches better, you might not strike out as many guys, but you're getting weak contact. If you look under the hood with Devin Williams, Still very weak contact against him. All his metrics, strikes out, weak contact. For some reason, he just has a rough time. But you look at his metrics are pretty much what they were 3 years ago.
I don't know.
I think ABS hurt him, honestly. I think ABS, guys like Minaya, who used to get that 3 inches off the plate strike, ABS has killed them now. I think ABS has absolutely destroyed Freddie Peralta. Freddie Peralta is wild right outside the zone. He misses by 6 inches up, down. And with ABS, he loses out on a lot of pitches, so he's throwing a lot more pitches.
Yeah, I mean, definitely could be. And Peralta's just been very up and down.
I tell you, I could see Peralta going to the Cubs and doing very well.
Yeah. I'm looking at Blackburn's pitches, like his spin rates and stuff, and nothing's even really drastically different than last year. So, I mean, I guess Wells has helped him and Matt Blake, the pitching coach. But I mean, he's throwing a little harder this year. But besides that, nothing really. Yeah, I mean, actually,
I remember you never met my son. My son was a lefty. He was playing, and Alan Watson talked to him. Alan Watson's my friend, and he told Vinny, my son, to go to the left of the mound instead of the right of the rubber. And my son picked up about 2 miles an hour on his fastball, and they couldn't hit him just by moving on the mound. Where he'd say, when you're facing a lefty, and you would think stand to the left, stand to the right, because your spin is going to give the vertical a different look when you're coming from the left batter's box. And he was right. Allen was terrific. And I'll tell you, I think with pitching now, it's become too analytical. I think now with arm slots and all this crap, you have to be who you are. I can't make you. Alvarez, one of the knocks on Chavez was Chavez felt when his run is up, don't try to pull and hit a home run. Go to right field. He ruined Alvarez's swing. And for the most part, any good batting coach will tell you, no, pull the ball. If you pull the ball, if that's your natural swing, you're going to hit. They tried to change Alvarez's whole approach and screwed him up. I think it's happening. If that's happening with batters, why wouldn't you think that's happening with pitchers? Why, if you say, look, use this arm slot. Yeah, but it ruins the rest of my pitches. And it puts stress on my arm that never had that arm slot. I've been throwing for 12 years from the other arm slot. And now I'm using muscles I've never used. And I'm going to strain them. And it's muscle memory. And I really believe that. I think batters are fine. You want to use analytics and move them in the batter's box. Pitchers, I think you should just listen. Soon as they started, there was one guy, Tommy John surgery, in 100 fucking years. That was Tommy John. How is it possible that everybody needs Tommy John surgery now? What is the difference? Bobby Ojeda told me this. Bobby got fired from the Cyclones because Bobby was making them go 90 pitches and they only wanted them to go 70. And he goes, look, I'm building up their arm strength. And they had a difference of opinion, and Bobby left the Cyclones. And this is why. And also because everyone throws. In 1977, the average pitcher threw 91 miles an hour. Now it's 98. That's the difference. Yeah. That's the difference, I think. You have kids at 15 throwing 75 miles an hour, 78 miles an hour. Now they threw 60 back in the day.
Sports has changed so much.
It really has. So, ending this with the Mets, I'm going to give you 3 questions. Lindor, I think, is an off-season trade. There's too much money involved, but I definitely do think Lindor is available now. My question to you is: do you think Kodai Senga could become a decent one-inning pitcher? Where you send him to a good team like the Cubs and they work with him and he becomes a 7th inning guy that's very good. Great strikeout stuff. You'd have to get his head on straight. Do you think he could reestablish his career at this point?
Yeah. I think it would take the right team to do it. Like, I think a team like the Yankees or the Rays or the Dodgers,
Astros, Giants.
yeah, like I don't think he's going to go to Cincinnati and just be better.
I could see him going to Tampa.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever going to be a great. But don't forget, when he was signed, everyone's like, "Why are they giving him money? That's like he's a starter. He's a hybrid starter reliever.
Right.
He happened to have a good year, but he wasn't a starter. So I think if a team got him as a reliever, then yeah, I think he can probably make a career for himself. Just because if you're letting him air it out for one inning, he's going to throw hard enough.
He's going to throw 98 for one inning.
Yeah, he has a good splitter. So I think, I mean, the problem is you're never going to give the reliever that's a project that money, so it's going to be hard to trade him. But I think if the team wasn't on the hook for that money and they're like, yeah, reclamation project, yeah, I could see him turning it around.
Do you think Lindor's done here?
No.
Now he's changed his hair again. He's taken out the dreadlocks. I really do. I honestly feel bad for Francisco Lindor, and I'll tell you why. I don't know this to be sure. I think he's very hurt. I think he came here to be a savior. I think he was very excited about leading this team. I think that Cohen loved him, and I think that all of a sudden he wasn't the star anymore. Soto was brought here. I think Soto doesn't go for his style. He's not the captain. I think if Soto weren't here, he'd be the captain. And I think he knows now that his Met career is never going to be what he thought it would be. And I think he's very disappointed in that. I do. I think he's a very sensitive guy.
The thing is, I think there's a way better chance he stays than leaves for a few reasons. One, because no one is taking that deal. It's never going to happen, especially before a CBA. So you'd have to pay money down. And the Mets, and rightfully so, they'd say, Lindor's a good player. Why would we pay you to have him play for you? So I think what they might do is say there's a real chance we have 3 years left of Juan, and he's leaving. And
Juan might not leave if this new agreement where he'll never get $50 million anywhere.
Yeah, but by the time he's leaving, the cap will be up, or the restrictions will be up in terms of like let's say they're 250 now. It'll be 300 by the time he leaves. And he's one of the best players in the world, so someone's going to give him money.
Absolutely.
And it's not like you're saying, hey, Juan, you're going to go from 50 to 30. They might say, hey, you're going to go to 50 to 45, but you just wasted 5 years of your career. You're going to try to win now. So, like, the thing is, I'm not convinced he's staying. I'm really not. And to me, if you're the Mets and you're like, we have him for 3 more, and we might not even play next year, the Lindor, it's so much. Hopefully they get along enough. Let's just give them 3 cracks at this together and try to build around them.
I'll tell you why I feel bad for Lindor, because I saw Lindor at that press conference. He looked like a broken man. I felt terrible for him because honestly, I think he tries to play every day. He came back from that toe. I was told he was shot with lidocaine every game for that broken toe he had from someone that's close to the Mets. I honestly felt bad for him. I don't think this was Lindor's fault. Honestly, that's why I have a big I think this is the wife's fault. There is no doubt in my mind. If he's not married to that woman, he's the captain today. I think that she caused a lot of problems.
I think they just the same thing as they did with like the Verlander and Scherzer thing. I think they just it's when I say this, you have to really know about what's going on, because it sounds like a stupid comment, because it's never a bad idea to get one of the best players in baseball.
Right.
But the Soto thing was just so stupid of them. It ruined everything, because they weren't a Soto away. They had false hope because they had a miracle run that they only got in the playoffs because Arizona blew a 10-0 lead the day before the playoffs started, which cost them the wild card spot and backed the Mets into it. That's the only reason they were even in that playoffs in 24. So they weren't a Soto away. They had a ton of holes to fill. And instead of choosing to do that, they're like, yeah, let's go give Juan $55 million. And it fractured the locker room even more than it already was because of the Lindor thing. It didn't help them. The team stinks with no end in sight, and they have holes all over the place.
Do you know, I was told
stupid signing.
I was told that someone was very offended and I trust this person, that Pete Alonso would curse all the time when he was being interviewed on the field, when all the fans were listening. He'd F this and F that. I was told that someone in Cohen's family was very insulted that he does that. Do you believe that?
Honestly, I don't know if I believe it or not, but as a younger guy who comes from a generation where I think words are words and they don't mean anything.
Right.
So I think if Alonso's saying fuck this, fuck that, do you want kids to hear it? No, but at the same time, it's a word. It's like I always laugh. I say, what's the difference between the word fuck and the word computer? Someone deemed that
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Go ahead.
Someone deemed that the letters together, F-U-C-K, is bad, and the words C-O-M-P-U-T-E-R is not. That's the only difference. Someone years and years and years ago redeemed that fuck is bad and computer is good.
But I'll tell you why.
So now we're all offended. So if that's really the case, I'd say then whoever that is should grow up.
Well, I have a feeling it might have been Cohen's father-in-law, mother, 80-year-olds. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. This is a team that puts the pride flag up. This is a team that is very, very politically in tune. And if some people got offended and they might have told Alonso not to do it, and he kept on doing it, I think what happened, I wasn't told this, and I'm curious if you've heard this. If you hear that Alonso walked out of a meeting with Stearns and said, you know what? While you're dicking around with your stats, I'm going to the fucking Hall of Fame. I have a feeling Stearns got very insulted by Alonso because it probably wasn't said that way. It was probably a very heated discussion, and he probably said, you know what? Why don't you go fuck yourself with your stats? And he walked out. I think that's probably what happened. Now, if he did that, just think. With kids, he's screaming, fuck this, fuck that on the field. What do you think he said on closed doors with Stearns? And I have a feeling he insulted Stearns. And I think Stearns said, you know, I'm the GM, fuck this. You're the player.
But at the same time, Stearns insulted him first.
Not insulting him by not wanting to give him the money.
But he's looking at it as that. Because think about it this way. Like, you put yourself in his shoes. If you're Alonso, you're a top 7 at worst-ish first baseman in the league, and they're offering you less money than the 15th best. You're like, and not to mention, which I'm not a huge fan of paying players because they're big in the organization, but
yeah,
I do get the sentiment behind it. He's also an all-time great Met, the home run leader. He's been there for years. You're going to give him a little more for that. It is what it is. I get it. But if you're him, I'd be insulted too. And then you got this guy coming in who's never won a fucking thing, mind you, going, yeah, we don't believe you're worth that because you don't. So I mean, I don't blame Alonso.
Well, do you know that I was told that Stearns told someone at a wedding when they said, you know, Pete, you could thank him for where you got. Because remember, before that home run off Devin Williams, Met fans were trying to run him out of town. They didn't want him. And you know what Stearns' answer was? He also ruined Senga's career. That happened. Yeah, at Leonard's a Great Neck. Stearns was at a wedding, and he said, when the guy said about Alonso, he said he also ruined Kodai's career. He's never going to be the same. He blamed him for not making the playoffs last year because he felt no matter what Alonso did, look, we still didn't make the playoffs with his great year. If Senga is not injured, they make the playoffs. They definitely win one more. Senga was he had a 1.5 ERA when he went down. He blamed Alonso for Senga's injury. And the year before, someone else pulled up almost lame on an Alonso throw. And he almost got Alvarez killed with a bad throw at the plate. And I think that Stearns saw this and said that he's a catastrophe out there. Someone's going to get hurt. I really believe that. And then I think the arguing with the money and him cursing all the time, you know, these guys probably aren't that way. This organization's probably a little prudish.
Yeah, like I said, it was an imperfect mix of things, and it was just time time to move on. And he's doing great in Baltimore, and he seems happy. And
Yeah,
Met fans are always going to love him. So if
So
you're him, he got the last laugh because the fans still love him. It's not like he left and the fans hate him.
the funny thing is, though, before that home run to Devin Williams, the fans didn't love him. They were looking to run him out. Now, if Stearns rebuilds this team and in 29 they win the World Series, does this all go away? And does Stearns say, "I told you I was doing this for the long-term success"? Will this be a distant memory where you won't forget this season, but you'll say, "Well, Stearns knew what he was doing"? Because if the Mets win the World Series in 3 years, they're going to say Stearns knew what he was doing.
Yeah, I just don't think that. I don't think they're anywhere near it. Because remember, like, there's no the minor league system's atrocious now because the guys came up, so now the system stinks. The major league roster is bad. Their financial advantage is really going away now, and they have bad contracts on the books, and they're old. And the two guys you're relying on to really be part of the next core, Ewing and Benj. Remember how that worked out when you made that same bet with Vientos and Beatty and Alvarez.
But I think these guys are more talented than those guys.
Yeah, but if you would have had the same conversation 3 years ago, you go, no, look, Vientos already first year. He can hit, and look where he is. So it's an in the moment thought process of they're better. You don't know that. So do I think they're better? I do, yeah, but it's not a guarantee. And if they're better, are they better enough to build a core around, or are they supporting players? So I don't like where they're at. If I was a Met fan, that's why to me I don't think Lindor is leaving, because I think they're going to say we're not in the best spot. Let's try to retool and give ourselves 3 cracks at it while we know for a fact that Juan is here. And even if him and Lindor don't get along great, they're repairing it. No, they haven't.
Do you think it's as bad as they said? Do you think they just?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Well, is it that they don't like each other, or he just doesn't
like each other?
But I can't imagine that's Lindor.
I don't think they hate each other. Like, I don't think they're mortal enemies.
Right.
But they don't like each other.
But I don't think that's Lindor.
They probably look at each other. If Lindor's acting away in the locker room or Soto's acting away in the locker room, the other one probably looks and rolls their eyes. That's probably like that. They don't get along. They're different people. They're nothing alike. What Lindor's very, like Soto's a very intense competitor. Lindor's 20 games out laughing at the plate. Like Soto's probably like, what are you doing? So, I don't think they're anything alike. I don't think they get along. I don't think, like I said, I don't think that they wish bad on each other. I just think they're nothing alike. So at the same time, I'm like, you know what though? If you have a few years with them, Lindor's still a good player. Just keep them away from each other, or figure it out enough where you can try to win. So that's why I think that at the end of the day, Lindor is not going to move. And if he does move, I don't think it's going to be a move where it's like, oh, you got some great haul for him because you're going to have to eat some of the contract. I think a move like that would honestly be more of a baseball trade where it's like Lindor for, it would never be this.
So if Cohen said to the Yankees, "I'll give you Lindor and I'll pay $25 million of the contract every year,"
the Mets aren't going to do that.
But if you had Lindor for $10 million a year for the next 5 years,
no, the Mets aren't going to.
No, if they ever did that and said we want George Lombard and someone else, would they do it?
I don't think the Yankees would do it.
Really?
No, because the Yankees, there's no reason for him. He's a 7. You got him for 5 more years. He's already declining a little bit. I don't think they do it.
Yeah, but even in his decline, he's better than any shortstop you're going to get, though. You're not going to get a shortstop, a 5-WAR shortstop.
Yeah, but Lombard's 20. He's 14 years away from Lindor's age now. So I think the Yankees they'd take Lindor and be willing to make a trade for Lindor 100% if that was the case of $10 million a year. Sure, I don't think they'd do it for Lombard though.
Okay. So do the Mets definitely unload Peralta and all these guys that everyone's talking about?
I think they'll definitely unload Peralta. They'll definitely unload a guy like anyone who's not here next year. I think they'll trade. I think Weaver has a multi-year deal, right? So I'm not convinced they'll trade.
He's here for next year at $11 million.
Yeah, I think there's a real chance he'll move, but I don't think it's a guarantee.
Brazoban has options So
Braziman's also not that good. So I think I think they'd be all right moving him. I think a guy like, I don't think anyone's taken Williams' contract. So I think he's here. The hardest move would, like, it makes all the sense in the world for both parties, would be to move Bichette.
I think Toronto's the only team that would take him.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, with Bichette is he's not going to opt out because he had a terrible year, and you're going to get financial restrictions. So is he going to really give up that money? I don't know. I did read something though that apparently they front loaded it a lot.
Yeah, you got to remember,
a lot of his
even if they're overpaying him next year, you still got a guy that's going to be 20 and 100 next year. It's not like you're going to keep Bichette next year and say, oh my God, where are we going to put him? Bichette's going to be a good hitter next year for you. You're paying him a lot of money, but he is a guy that is going to be 20 and 90 in your lineup and hit 290. So it's not like if he doesn't opt out, you're getting screwed financially, but you're getting a good ball player. Like if he was making 30, he'd be the steal of the century.
He's not really even a $30 million.
Oh, yeah, he is. He's
and he's not really an impact bat.
Yeah, but he's a bat. He's a bat that keeps things going in the middle of the lineup.
But like, let's just say, health permitting, right? And I just give you, money's the same. I just give you an option,
right?
Who would you rather have, Bichette or Lindor? They're both healthy. Just, you get to pick the player you want.
Without the politics and everything involved?
Yeah, just as a ball player.
Oh, Lindor.
And Lindor's not worth his contract, and he's making 34. So that,
what, though?
There's no way Bichette's not.
You got to remember, though, and people forget this. Lindor came out. Lindor should have won the MVP 2 years ago.
Yeah, he had an amazing year, but he wasn't worth that money.
He's only 17 months off an MVP year, and there's no reason to think he hasn't slowed down that much. Look,
no, he's not finished.
And I think that I think the fielding is all mental.
I think Lindor needs a situation, honestly, a perfect situation for him would be like San Diego, where he can just be blended in with a bunch of other stars who have similar personalities. He's out of New York. It's a very laid back town. Like, that's where I think like he'd be great in. And I think he needs a situation like that. I think
that if you made him captain today and he made up with Soto, he'd hit 320 the rest of the year. I think it's all that. I think it's all the wife. Listen, there is no way in the world. I don't care, a pacifist, if you're a liberal, whatever. If your wife caused the problem that you are not what you aspired to be, captain of the New York Mets, there is no way he didn't have a problem with her. I'm not saying they're still fighting about it, but I'm saying there was no possible way that deep down there was a little resentment that because she's on the front page with Mamdani, he's getting hit for the fan favorite Alonso being traded. He's having a terrible year. And now I think he feels, honestly, I think Cohen was Cohen's boy. And I think now he feels Cohen picked Soto over him. That's what I think. I think he's very hurt. I think he's very butthurt. That's what I think.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think he's very butthurt because they were making him captain. I know that for a fact. I know someone in the organization that they did an 8-minute PR movie on him. And they scrapped it as soon as Soto said that about Marte. So, and he knows. Don't you think Lindor knows it's Soto's the reason he's not captain? That's why he hates Soto. He knows that Soto came in and everything was fine, and all of a sudden, all the fans hate him. But you have to look at it. This guy wasn't with the Mets all that long, and he's giving thumbs down to Baez. Lindor wasn't squeaky clean in all this. His first year, he was in a problem with Baez.
He acts like an idiot.
Yeah,
he was crucified in the World Baseball Classic 4 years ago. Hit a leadoff home run in a round robin game, and he's running around the bases like an idiot. And people are like, "What are you doing?" And now, to be fair, like he was like, "Yeah, I didn't mean anything by it. It's just like it's our culture. We get excited." Like, yeah, I get it. But at the end of the day, like, you gotta grow up a little bit. Like, this is a round robin game with like a leadoff home run in game one. He's very. That's why I don't think he gets along with Soto. Lindor's a very like, and you meet people like this in your life too. Like, you have friends, I'm sure, who are very just like, they're always happy and they're always like moving at a fast pace. And you're like, just relax. And Soto's the total opposite of that. And it's not that they're not genuine. I'm sure Lindor is genuinely like upbeat guy.
Oh, I think so too.
He doesn't mesh with people, and he rubs people the wrong way.
Well, look,
he's an acquired taste.
This is exactly like Gary Carter. The only difference was the Mets won the World Series. Gary Carter came in. Keith Hernandez couldn't stand him. All he did was smile for the camera, and they thought he was very disingenuous. And then but the difference is they won. If Lindor was doing you didn't hear a thing about this when the Mets almost went to the World Series.
Well, I'll give you a perfect example, and this guy's even more smiley than Lindor.
Swisher?
Like Swisher. Yeah. When Swisher walked into the Yankee clubhouse.
He was annoying, though. He was annoying.
There's a book by Brian Hoke, the Yankee beat reporter from MLB.com, called Chasing 27 or something. It's a great book for any Yankee fans or even sport fans in general. One of the best books you'll read. It's a whole story of the 09 Yankees. When Swisher got there, Posada or something like this, like Posada went over to Jeter and was like, "Who the fuck is this guy? What is he doing?" Because this is a team that's won multiple World Series. They're all veterans. They're all like very calm, like Jeter, Posada, Pettit, very stoic. All they wanted to do was win. They're all very intense. And in comes Swisher bouncing with a boombox, smiling, blasting Metallica. And they're like, "What is he doing?"
Yeah.
And they spoke to him, and Swisher's like, "No, like it's genuinely just me." They love him. He's like, the Yankees bring him back for everything. All the Yankees, Jeter, all these guys who are nothing like him, love him to death. He's always involved in old timers days. He's an ambassador for the Yankees. Even the league has him around because everyone loves him. A guy like that, you don't see that with Lindor, because I think Lindor just comes off like, I don't know the difference between him and Swisher, because Swisher's even more upbeat than him. But it seems like
the Yankees are winning.
Well, actually, right. But it seems like, but even around MLB, like the MLB has Swisher running around as an ambassador now.
Well, this shows you more. This shows you more than anything. The statement you just said. It's probably a lot of it has to do with the politics.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I very strong.
Look. For 4 years, Lindor was jumping around, smiling and everything. You never heard a bad thing. You got two players that Met fans were sick of. Nemo, they wanted out. McNeil, they couldn't stand. And Alonso, until he hit a big home run, they wanted him out. All of a sudden, these guys leave. She's on the front page with Mamdani, and all of a sudden, Lindor is wired up. You know what? The smiling didn't bother anybody when he was winning, when they almost went to the World Series. I think it was the politics here.
Yeah, and they're helping part of it, blaming him for
dissension.
Why the roster was broken up.
Yeah, dissension. Listen, thank you so much for coming in. Let's talk after the trade deadline.
Yeah, sounds good.
Take care. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. My hockey analyst who was talking baseball with us. No, Andrew, you're not late. If you look at it says Mets Philly postgame in progress. I should have said while the game's on, I was going to do it. But the Mets are down 4-1. And Senga, they're trying to make him a one-inning reliever. I could see Senga going somewhere and being a very good seventh-inning guy. We'll see. He's got good stuff. He really does have good stuff. It just doesn't translate well. Bottom 5, 4-1. The pitch, that ghost fork, they don't swing it anymore. So we're down by 3. Unreal. Unbelievable. We're always just good enough to lose. Minaya again, 4 runs in 5 innings. That's what he does. That's what he does. You're not going to get better off Minaya. Minaya doesn't throw 96 anymore. ABS. You're not going to do it anymore. He would, Thomas. I think he'd be good anywhere but the Mets. You know, I'm a firm believer that when your time is up, your time is up. You know, it's like a relationship, Thomas. Yeah, you can have a relationship with a girl, and then you break up, and you try to, there's a honeymoon period for a little while, and then it's not there anymore. Well, that's what it is with some of these Mets. It's just not there anymore. I think Lindor's, you know, happens to be his best days are behind him. All this nonsense that went on, this is not forgivable. People aren't going to forgive it. You know, people look for an excuse. Oh, it's your fault it's not sunny today. They're blaming him for Alonso not being here. They couldn't stand McNeil. They're blaming him for McNeil not being here. Met fans wanted McNeil out. But it's easy to shit on. It's easy to shit on Lindor now. You want to shit on someone because you're frustrated with this. Not you, frustrated with the season. And what better way than find a player to blame it on? You can't blame it on Soto. Soto's having an MVP season, and that's the problem. Senga also too much water under the bridge with the Mets with Senga. Senga just can't come back here now and reset. This is your ex-girlfriend here. It's not, you'll have some good moments. You'll come out, he'll strike out the side. You'll go out with your girlfriend. You have a great time that night. Oh, it's like it was. And then the next day you're killing each other. It's not like it was. It was, you tried so hard to make it. When you have to try to recreate something constantly, it's not organic. And that's the thing with Senga. You look at anything to say, oh, that's the guy that we loved 3 years ago. Senga's not the same pitcher. Mentally, he's not. Mentally, he's shot like Lindor is. If you think Lindor is going to straighten out here with the Mets and be 30-30 again, I'll sell you a bridge. Lindor's broken. Lindor is broken. You know when I saw it? That press conference. He looked like someone just died. And the Mets don't have a challenge because Alvarez, again, blew two of them. For every great outing Senga gives you, as soon as he gives up a home run, everyone's screaming to get him out of here. He has no leeway anymore to be bad. When you're a good player, you have to have a leeway. When you're Mark Vientos, right? After seeing him for a year and a half be terrible. Look, if Soto goes 0 for 5, he had an error. They talked about it for one game. Right? One game, the ball got away from terrible left fielder. And then right back to Stearns. You can't knock Soto. If it wasn't for Soto, you'd be 30 games under 500. There are guys here that Stearns was right with one thing. The core had hit the dirt. The core was done here. Core wasn't going to win here. And now he's right on a personality level. Now they can't even play under these conditions. Lindor looks like he's 40 years old out there. Look at him in the field. He doesn't look smooth at all. He's throwing balls away. I just don't think he's in a good place. And honestly, if you could rewind back a year and a half, maybe you can get him back. As long as Soto's here and as long as he's not captain, this is what you're getting. Because he was the man. Lindor was the man. And now he's the enemy. Everyone's blaming Lindor for everything that's gone on. And worse than that, they're blaming his wife. Imagine, it's bad enough if you're not playing well. But they're dissing your wife too. It's rough. I feel bad for him. I'm good, Ray. And I'm going to show you what showed me. I don't believe. I believe my friends when they tell me things because there's no reason for them to lie to me. I know them for many years. They're in baseball. I know they're good friends with players. I know that they're there during conversations. But when I saw this, I knew Lindor's. career here was over.
Put such an emphasis
responsibility for,
Went after it.
and this organization, the fan base
This is
deserve
when
better
I knew
baseball.
Lindor
what
was
happened on that play.
done. Can't even talk.
The ball ate me up. Went after it and just took a harder hop and just hit me in the palm on the hand, like palm and wrist area, and just didn't make the play. Unacceptable.
Is it any more disheartening? I know you're always someone who puts such an emphasis on defense, but any more disheartening on a day like today, going into the All-Star break with what Zach did and quite frankly, the game that you had offensively as well?
It's not about me. Just Devin pitched very good. Weave pitch
It is about
very good. Zach did his thing very good, and I wasn't able to capitalize on.
that. That's a broken man. Waffle, I agree. Now, I don't know how much she poked at the Met base. And look, someone said, watch her YouTube. And I did. Her playing violin on the field, I have no problem with that. Evidently, she's a bright young woman. She's going to be an attorney. But she's a liberal, which isn't bad in and of itself. But she's I've seen things that Lindor's a communist because a lot of New York takes that stance that Mamdani's a communist, and she's standing with them all smiles. Not a good look. Even if you subscribe to that, it's not a good look. I'll tell you why. When the BLM stuff came out, the National Football League had the BLM insignia right in the middle of the field. They lost 50% of their viewership on Sunday. After the second week, they took it away. Was racism solved? No. You were costing us millions of dollars. Anheuser-Busch went woke and lost $18 billion. What do you think their investors in that stock thought? They're not all conservatives. You know what? Keep it out of the business end. And that's what happened here. It got involved in the business end, the business of Cohen making money, the business of him being a team owner, one of the biggest markets in the world, and getting booed anywhere he goes where there's Met people. That's what happened. Who are you going to blame? I don't see Alvarez's wife on the front page of the news with the mayor. I don't see McLean's wife. Now, put that along with a fist fight with McNeil. Thumbs down with Baez. Who are you going to believe is the rebel rouser? Lindor was here a year. And Baez, who's an ass, is doing this to the fans of Lindor. First of all, it had nothing to do with Lindor. If Baez did that, why is Lindor doing it? It has nothing to do with you. And he took a big hit for that, Lindor. But they forgave him when he hit the big home run against Atlanta. But Lindor was public enemy after that. So he's had a couple of problems with the fans. So, this isn't his first rodeo. There have been a couple of issues with Lindor already.
In Metsland, but that is not the case because at least 3 players, Javi Baez, Kevin Pillar, and Francisco Lindor, were doing something a little not too nice after big hits. And you see Baez with the thumbs down, Pillar thumbs down, Lindor thumbs down. Javi Baez, please explain.
What does the thumbs down celebration after a big hit mean?
Just the booze that we get. We're not machines. We're gonna struggle. We're gonna struggle 7 times out of 10, and it just feels bad when we strike out. When I strike out and I get booed, it doesn't really get to me. But I want to let them know that when we succeed.
So if I go to a wedding and the bride is 400 pounds, should I say, when they say she looks beautiful, what are you talking about? She's 400 pounds. Should I say that? When you're paying for my meal? The fans are paying your fucking salary. Get over it. Don't tell the fans to shut up and go fuck yourself. Baez has had a problem with every team he's ever been with. Machado's had problems with people. You know who Lindor's best friends are? Baez and Machado. Soto didn't like Machado. Why? Because he's like Lindor. Soto wants to win. He doesn't care about anything else. And this Met game's over. Triple. What is this nonsense? What the hell does this mean? All these guys do this. Fucking ridiculous. You know what I would do? If I'm the pitcher, I'd say, which eye do you want to get hit in next fucking time you're at bat? Because that's where the ball's going, so watch. That's what I would do. I'd be thrown out of baseball. Either I'd get hit in the head. That would be the day they'd style on me. Do that to Pedro Martinez. You get a 98-mile-an-hour fastball and knock your fucking teeth out. And they say that's baseball today. That's baseball because you allow it. You allow it. Jeter always leaned over the plate. Well, hit him in the back. He won't lean over the plate so much if you're throwing 100. Oh, players don't do that anymore. Because eventually your play will get hit. Yeah, but eventually it'll have to stop. Eventually someone will say enough's enough. Everybody's getting hurt. Stop styling. Part of the reason is because a lot of the Latin players, they style. That's their culture. They don't mean to annoy anybody. Oh, he wouldn't take this crap, Thomas. Bob Gibson, when Tim McCarver walked up to the plate, to the mound, he said, what are you doing here? The only thing you know about pitching is that you can't hit it. That's what he said to him. But, yeah, this is, it is what it is. And we're only in the 6th. Yeah, they have no challenges left because Alvarez balls right down the middle of the plate. He challenges. Pirates won again, 7-1 over Cleveland. Cleveland's terrible. Let me give you guys a scoreboard while I'm here. Game 1 of a doubleheader. Pirates won 7-1. That was the makeup game for yesterday. Blue Jays are up 1-0 against the White Sox, bottom 5. Rockies 10-3 over the Reds. Marlins 3-1 over the Brewers. Diamondbacks 4-0 over the Cardinals. Cardinals are about 5 game over 500. Someone was coming in here when I told them the Cardinals were a 500 team, telling me, no, they weren't. You'll see the Cardinals going to be a 500 team. Royals 2-1 over the Padres. Braves 4-3 over the Rangers. Pirates are good. First and third. This is where this will be 7-1. They're stealing bases on the Mets. I'm surprised Lindor's not shaking his hand. Good steal. Terrible. Absolutely pathetic. What this team has done to us, huh? So it is what it is. I will be back in a bit. Play nice among yourselves, and I will be back. Hey guys, I'm back. Hey Brooklyn. This is terrible. The thing that concerns me more than anything is Lindor's regression. My God, unless this really is April for him. I know he was hurt, and Simeon's decline. My God, Simeon looks like he's 45 years old out there. Simeon looks like Willie Mays when Mays came with the Mets in '73 and fell in the outfield. I was wrong about Simeon. I told you guys a couple of months ago I thought he'd figure it out. Nah, he just got old. I was totally wrong about that. Unbelievable. What we have to watch, the slop. It is a crap show, Waffles. It really is. Really terrible. They just give up outs. It's incredible. AJ Ewing. Ewing has to stop throwing the ball in. He's always throwing the ball away. Waffle, I know. Yeah, right. Senga, I don't understand why we're still watching Senga. You have guys in the minors that throw 99. They just refuse to stop putting these guys out there. They're just so bad. Really terrible. I know, Ray. Warm up to give up, 5 runs, 4 runs. This poor broadcast team. Keith Hernandez must be going out of his mind. Who's a bit outspoken? Ron Darling. That should be a hit. He got him? There's no way he's out. He's safe. They'll review that. They're not even leaving the field, Philly. He's safe there. Great play. No, he's safe. I think he was. Yeah, he was safe. Yeah, this is terrible. How does the umpire miss that? I don't even like the way the Met first base coach looks. Isn't it terrible the way I'm picking on stupid things? He's fast. He's still hustling. What a shit show. What we have to put up with, huh, as Met fans? Terrible. Really terrible. And we have to go through this the whole year. See, what will be interesting, though, is once the trade deadline has come and gone, we'll have some new players to root for. That's always fun. Yeah, we'll have some guys to root for. To be honest with you, Andrew, I don't really remember 92 all that much. The Bobby Bonilla years. I don't remember how I felt. I was younger, I was 31. I had a lot of things going on. During that season, I was working in England. I was there for 18 months from 91 to 93. So I really wasn't here. I was following, but you didn't have Met cable. You didn't have the internet. I'd watch the bottom of the screen. I'd watch ESPN. And the ESPN, remember the trailer in the bottom? They would give you the scores. Like every 10 minutes, they'd come up with new scores. That's what I'd watch. And you'd have to wait like 20 minutes. And then a commercial would come on that would interrupt. As soon as the Mets were going to come up on the score, the commercial would come on. You have to wait for it to go around again. It was a pain in the ass. So I was spared a lot of that. But yeah, recency bias is a very big thing. I'm sure a lot of it's fresh right now. I could have called 976-1313. I remember it was 999-1313. They changed it to 976-1313. I could have, but BBC didn't cover. BBC One and Two didn't cover. I don't even know if there was BBC Two back then, but it didn't cover the sports. But I would call home. I was able to call for free because of my business where I work. They allowed me to call America. So I would call every hour or so, to be honest with you. But I was at that time a Met fan and a Ranger fan. Yes, I was. I was in from November 91 till August 93. I loved it. And I used to fly back here every 3 weeks. I had just gotten married, actually. in '90, and I flew back and forth. Um, Probably the '86 team every year, Andrew. It's close, but yeah, it's rough. Definitely rough. The thing with yeah, definitely, Andrew. Absolutely. It's tough being a GM in New York. Yeah, I think Drury, and I'll say it again, being a former player, I think means a lot. I think when you haven't played the game, you don't have that instinctual feeling when you see a player if they have an intangible. Drury was a guy that wasn't the most talented, but got a lot out of his talent. If this is they gave up this game, leave Singer out to dry. The Rangers are going to be much improved this year. A 95-point team. See, the problem with the Rangers is you don't know if Miller regresses a lot and Fox regresses a lot because of the smoke, right? If you notice, I don't know where you are, but from like 6 to 7 o'clock to 9, it's very bad with the smoke. It rolls in at that time. And I think they want to beat that. You smell it out at 7:30 in New York. It is terrible. It starts really about 6:30. It gets real bad, and I think they wanted to get past it. Phillies probably the same thing. It's pouring there. They should just game's over 6-1. Who cares? Fucking disgusting. I tell you, they have to put up with this shit. And here comes the top, and there goes the game. And we've got rain. Oh, yeah. My God. What a shit show. The rain did us a favor. It'll help Senga's ERA. He's going to give up another couple. What a terrible, terrible disaster, right? We thought we were going to be right there fighting for the division. At the very least, wild card. 3 wild cards. We had like an 80% chance, I think, to win to make the wild card at the beginning of the year. And we started off, I think, 7-3, didn't we? 7-3, 7-4. We were like 7-3 and had a chance to be 8-3. And we blew the game. We had a lead. Yeah, Andrew. Yeah, it's a shame. You know, she's a young woman. You don't want her chastised. But, you know, they put themselves out there. They put themselves out there. And when your husband is a big personality, and you know she wants to be a big personality, she's got an ego. She wants to, you know, be heard, which is nothing wrong with being heard. But that's what you get. She likes the spotlight like her husband. And she made sure she got it. She got it all right. How you doing, everybody? So, look, all we do now is wait for the trade deadline to come. Ray, look, I'm not on their side. It's not even so much that it's the wrong side. It's none of that should be in the clubhouse. Hey, Radiant. Look, she wants to be a star. Do you know anything about any of the other wives? Exactly. Why do we know so much about her? Why do we know so much about her? Unless it's been pushed in our face. Because you know us. We don't just search out stuff on the internet. Usually the reason why we search it out is it's brought to our attention and they keep on talking about it. And we say, wait, what's going on? Let's find out. That's what happens. That we were lambasted with all this stuff. And again, if the Mets were 55-40 right now, might still be talking about Soto and Lindor not getting along. Yeah, because they know, Joe, what's going to happen. I'm very surprised that he hasn't been released. You know, I don't know how much they have to see. And again, 1 inning, you can get out of it with him with 1 inning. You can't have him in multiple innings. Once players see him, and it doesn't matter if you haven't been up, even in the on-deck circle, once you see him, he's done. Right now, Radiant, you're right. She wants to be a star. She wants to be a lawyer for all these causes and all this bullshit. And look, God bless her. Who gives a shit anymore? She ruined her husband's career here. He was forging a nice career here, was going to go into the Hall of Fame probably as a Met. He won't even be here. Terrible. I'm going to give you the Met young players and what my friend who was a scout for 35 years thought of them. We'll start with Nolan McLean. He projected him to be an all-star. Maybe not every year, but certainly will make an all-star team. He liked his arm to Justin Verlander. He thought he'd have elite control and high ceiling and a high strikeout, but because of the ball has changed this year. That's why he's having a hard time with his command. Freddie Peralta as well. The ball is different. That's why Peralta and McLean are struggling. And Jonah Tong, probably, for that matter. Carson Bench. A Josh Bell type of hitter with more defensive versatility, lower strikeout rate. Jonah Tong. A Trevor Bauer type arm. Slider, changeup. Control might be an issue with him. Will Watson. Fastball, mid-90s, slider. Like a J.A. Happ, if you know him. High strikeout. Once in a while, be good control-wise. Once in a while, not. Mitch Voigt, second base shortstop. High on base percentage and power upside. Ryan Clifford. Josh Donaldson type speed with the bat, high exit velocity. A.J. Ewing. All-around positive outfield. Open to 10 to 20 home runs, 40 to 60 stolen bases, 350 and up on base percentage in his prime. Jonathan Santucci. Maybe a Craig Kimbrell type reliever, high strikeout rate. Giovanni Rodriguez. Power and speed, possibly. He liked a couple of younger players that I didn't see coming. He still thinks Jonah Tong is going to be a top reliever. He thinks he's going to be like an Isringhausen. Wenninger, he said he's going to be a 4 ERA guy. Jacob Reimer, he thinks is going to be a power bat. They have a player that Wandy Asin. He shifted from the Yankees to the Mets. I think he's still there. Not much on him yet. He said the guy that he thinks is interesting is Santucci because he thinks Santucci could be a great reliever. And Will Watson will be brought up here as a middle of the relief guy. Will Watson's going to be like Tobias Myers. Guy like that. Not high leverage, but we'll give you a good 2 or 3 innings if you need it. Yeah, Radiant. That's why they took him out of second base. His hands are terrible. They took advantage of his speed. He doesn't have good hands. That's why. He was having a very hard time with the double play down in the minors. You're right. But I think he'll be an above-average center fielder. He's he has to harness his arm. He just doesn't throw correct. He's not supposed to be here. Ewing was supposed to be up in September for a look. He wasn't supposed to be here this year. He's learning on the job. So you'll see the talent come through with some really great at-bats. And then you'll see, not such a good game out of him. Benj as well. Benj makes a lot of mistakes in the outfield. Benj isn't good playing the ball off the wall. Benj doesn't understand how to play a ball off a wall or go back when he doesn't have a chance of catching it. If you notice, Benj is not good with the angles. He's going to have to get better at that. And Soto in left field. For the most part, anything hit to him, he'll get to him. But this is just unreal. I never thought that we'd be sitting here mid-July. Now, there have been some rumors about Lindor possibly going to the Mariners for Brock Rodden, Luke Stevenson. I don't know. They've had a problem at shortstop for a long time, Seattle. Not sure. I think he'd be good in Seattle. Not a great hitting park. But, his Gold Glove days are over. Soto, what's funny? Lindor almost won the MVP, didn't make the All-Star team. He's never made the All-Star team with the Mets. Well, he got screwed. He should have. But yeah, I think the thing more interesting, the debate. I'm not talking about normal decline, okay? You're not supposed to be better at 32 than you were at 29. A lot of people having fun online. Lindor going to the Phillies for Ramon Marquez, Carson DeMartini, the Guardians. Imagine Braves, Lindor to the Braves. Imagine putting him between Acuna and Matt Olson. This is the thing with Lindor. Has he shown normal decline, or is this steep decline? Has Lindor just aged from his best season at 30 with the Mets to now at 32 coming off injury? Wingman is your new hero. That's funny, James. Is this normal decline, or has he steeply declined? I think this is normal decline. His most serious injury, he's never missed 3 months before, 2.5 months. And what's going on mentally. I think you put all that together and you have a tsunami. And I think that's what's happened to Lindor. I think if things magically cleared up here in New York, I don't think Lindor would ever be a 30-30 guy again. I just don't think he's a 30-30 guy anymore. I could see him running less. I could see him hitting 25, maybe stealing 18 bases, 22 bases, scoring 90 runs, hitting 255, fine for a shortstop. If he's your captain, if he's a leader. Look, Real Muto isn't worth what Philly gave him. but that pitching staff loves him. He's very respected, and he still can come up with a big hit. He's not the Realmuto of 5 years ago when he was one of the best players in baseball as a catcher. He had speed. You look at Jay, he's 35, I think, now. Okay? He's a lifetime 39 WAR, and he's still a positive WAR. He's hitting 208. This is a guy with a lifetime batting average of almost 270. In his good days, he was hitting 275, 270, 263, knocking in 70 to 65 to 80 runs, 25 doubles, hitting 15 to 20 homers. His OPS plus was always from 109 to 130, meaning 9% to 30% better than the average catcher at his position. So on base percentage was always in the threes. He's old now. And he still has played 69 games this year. He's still going to end up playing 120 games. His 162 game average, his WAR is 4.4. That's a big WAR for a catcher. But he's a leader. Conversely, we'll look at, here's a perfect example. Terrence is not a league average hitter. I would be surprised if he was 85 this year. Let's see what his OPS plus is. His OPS plus is 66. He's been an average hitter twice in his life, 102 and 107. He's never hit better than 250. Never knocked in more than 29 runs, which he did when he played 90 games for the Mets. In his best years, he's a 1 WAR. This year, he's a 1 WAR. He's a 1 WAR with his OPS being 66, which means he's 30-something% less than the average player. That shows you how good defensively he is. His defense is outstanding. His total runs saved this year is 7. He's made 1 error all year in 44 games. He has a 997 fielding percentage. Great numbers. 20 assists. Great year. But, it's just a guy, what is he now? About 30. You can't build your team around a 30-year-old catcher who hits 35% worse than every catcher in the major leagues. James, yeah, me too. I'm a life and health coach, and I undered in psychology. Yeah, I think that Lindor had a breakdown. I do. I'm not saying a nervous breakdown. I think he had a breakdown. I think he's broken. Absolutely. I think he's very hurt. I think that he thought that he was Cohen's guy. And when they brought Soto in, I think he said to himself, well, I'll be the captain. And I'm sure captain must have been mentioned because I know the PR department put out a film. They were working on a film for it. And it was leaked that during last year, he was supposed to be named the captain, and he wasn't. And around the same time, Soto made the statement that Marte, I look at as the team captain. What does that tell you? It's almost like Soto went out of his way to insult Lindor. I don't know. I think it's mostly mental with Lindor. And it's a shame because he's been a good Met. He had an MVP season. He should have, if Ohtani doesn't have that crazy year and hit the 50, he wins the MVP. He was brilliant. He hit that home run against Atlanta. Originally we were told the relationship was chilly. The personalities are totally different. Soto's very businesslike, focused on, performance. And Lindor's very socially engaged. They used to see the fist bump, which Soto wasn't really doing with Lindor. They don't have a lot of eye contact. I think Lindor felt threatened by Soto. And I think the media amplified it because that's what they do to make money. They're elite players. They should care more about winning. And Soto has said that he respected Lindor for his leadership and dedication to his teammates. He has said that. Now, did he say it to just say it? I don't know. Building chemistry takes time. It does. But look, the first year, Soto and Judge, you love Judge. Judge is like Soto. Doesn't say much, all the right answers, and is very businesslike. I think it was more personality until the politics got involved. I think once the politics got involved, I think Soto probably says, what is this doing in the clubhouse? And the politics was surrounded around Lindor and his wife. That's why. And, just that they're possibly testing the market for Lindor tells you what the relationship is. I really do believe that. And Soto's here for the long term. Soto's never opting out of this contract. With the new bargaining agreement, he's not going to get $50 million anywhere. But I thought it was wrong, actually, yeah, you're right, James. I think he felt very bad. But I do think when you left Lindor off the unavailable list, I think that was a slap. I think what they should have said was, we will listen to anything to improve our team. And I'm not going to get into players' names. That's what they should have said. But this needs a reset, this organization. The organization needs a reset, not the team. See, sometimes you need to reset the team. This organization needs a reset. First of all, his contract is substantial. You're going to be on the hook for a lot of this money for the next 5 years. he certainly looks like he's on a downswing. He's not coming off a year. If he was having a year like he did 2 years ago, I'm sure there'd be a lot of people lining up. You'd still probably have to take on some money because no one wants to pay a shortstop $34 million. But he's still a tremendous player, and I don't think he should be judged by these lackluster numbers or his injury-riddled season. He's never been injured before, really. But how do you pay $160 million for the next half decade with a guy whose best years are behind him? And I don't think the Mets are going to pay down salary at this juncture. Not with the lockout looming. I think the Mets have told teams that this isn't like 23, that they have no desire to pay down contracts that extreme. I think they will pay some, but they're not going to pay everything. But I think the length of this contract, I think if there were 3 years remaining, you'd be able to. And he has a full no trade clause. He could tell the Mets where he wants to go. He has 10-5 rights. But that doesn't mean he has veto power over who he can be traded to. But that doesn't mean that he won't do it. Look, Brendan Nemo waived his no trade clause to go to Texas. There could be teams Lindor's open to going to. I don't know if his wife would want to leave New York, but there could be. And this is ultimately about him. As much as his wife likes New York, if Lindor is miserable playing and he has another 5 years to play in the major leagues, and I'm sure he wants to become a Hall of Famer, then he's going to say, look, I have no shot here of making the Hall of Fame. Their goal is to still be good in 27. Soto in the middle of his prime. And now with the 2 major injuries, he's still finished in the top 10 each year, MVP voting. So was this down year that he didn't have a spring training mean that he's not a great player anymore? I don't know. But like James said, thank you, James. I really appreciate it. I'm 100% like myself. Well, my bar can be strong. But look, when I saw Lindor, I'm bipolar. For him to have this for a guy that's always smiling, to look this miserable, it's like, I don't know what it's like. But to see him so beaten, that's more than him just making an error in the field. You don't act like that when you've made an error in the field. I've seen his press conferences 1,000 times where he didn't come through in a big spot, where the Mets lost a tough game, even in the playoffs. He wasn't like this. This is personal. This is your whole world seems to be the world you built for yourself. Right? He built himself here as a team that's going to lead the Mets to the promised land. He almost won the MVP in doing it. He wanted to be captain to a guy now that he probably knows he's not going to finish his career here, or it'll be untenable to do it. Probably knows he might be stuck here because of his wife wanting to be here. So it's not going to be easy to sign her up to leave. He's got small kids. I think his world went 360. I don't think he ever expected it. But when you take an upbeat guy like that and you break him, That's family. That's family. There is nothing that strong. The Mets blew an insurmountable lead last year. That was the worst, the best record in baseball, June 12th. And he still was positive in the offseason. After that, this is something different. Larry could be. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know. His wife seems like a strong personality. I can see his wife saying, I'm not going anywhere. This is my city. I'm where I want to be. I'm working with the mayor. This is good for my career. It's not only about you anymore. See, that's the problem. I think she wants to be a star. I would not be surprised if she ran one day for something. Why do you think she's aligning with Mamdani? You don't do that unless you have aspirations. She wants to be an attorney. What do you think she's doing? When Francisco retires, who do you think wants to be the man? And I think her best shot is being here. And I think he knows that. There's no doubt in my mind that she has political aspirations. No doubt. I wasn't told that. I just figured that out on my own. She's not leaving New York. And Larry, you're right. I think he knows she's not coming. I think he's had a lot come his way. He's taken a big hit for the Hall of Fame with this year. You got to remember, Lindor needed 4 really good seasons to make the Hall of Fame. I mean, this year, 27, 28, 29, he had to be pretty much 25 and 80, 25 stolen bases. Another couple of top 10 MVP votings. If the Mets ever won the World Series, he'd probably get in. And that's all collapsed. Right now, you're taking probably 25 homers and 60 RBIs away from his career stats. His career batting average has gone down a few points because of this. His fielding percentage has gone down he's not looked at as an elite fielder now. His Hall of Fame trajectory took a very big hit this year. A very big hit. I think Lindor cares about that stuff. I don't think he's wrong for caring about it. That's what I think you do. Those of you who might be interested, England's up 4-0 over France at halftime. So, hey, Jose, thank you. So, I think this has a lot to do with his career. No doubt in my mind that his wife has political aspirations. She wouldn't be close to Mamdani if she didn't. She's going to be an attorney. She does. They just bought a $20 million condo here. She's not going anywhere. What's he going to do? Yeah, Larry, he's losing a lot. He's losing a lot. Give me a second, Seth. He's losing a lot. And I feel bad for that. You know, when a guy has worked his whole life, and he has worked very hard, he's had a brilliant career. And a lot of his career was tarnished over the last year. A terrible collapse last year with him as prospective captain, which he wasn't named. Getting blamed for players that were loved getting bounced out of here. Him playing terribly. People are going to remember this year. People are going to remember this year in Met law. Not going to forget this year. You think Stearns is ever going to live this year? I don't care how many World Series Stearns wins. They're always going to remember this. I'm sure he is attached to his kids. I'm sure he is, Larry. This is probably, and they're kids. They're small. One's probably a year or two old. I feel bad for him. I do. I'm not heartless here. And I'm not saying this is the old Machiavellian way of telling your wife, shut up. But you know what? The day after the article came out about politics ruining the clubhouse, the front page of the Post had her standing with Mamdani. And then the next article was how Nemo's wife was a big volunteer for MAGA. And Alonzo, not a volunteer, but how does that look? It looks like you're the reason they're not here. That might be total. First of all, I don't believe that. I don't think Stearns liked Alonzo from jump. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think Stearns wants to build a team. I don't think he cares. But I think that this hurt his reputation. Got to remember, is another team going to want him with all the baggage? How about when his wife visits? Do you want? What happens if a couple of teams that line up have guys with opposite political views as you, but the problem is your wife talks about it. They don't. He's not in a good way. This has hurt him big time, his career. And unfortunately, it probably has very little to do with him being married. Shame. Really shame. Because he was going to the Hall of Fame. And he was going as a Met. I don't think that's happening anymore. And I think he knows that. And that's what bothers him. I think he's a competitor. I think he wants to win. I don't doubt that at all. You know, just because he I dropped the stream, the invite, Seth. I don't think there's any question. Hey, bang that. Yeah, New York is. The thing is, people are going to learn. And it will never be let in here again in New York. People are going to learn from this. You know, the problem is you had a lot of young people voting for the first time in their lives. And they were promised free stuff. Who's not going to take it? Right? If you promise me free stuff, I just know that nothing's free. Big price comes with free stuff. New York's starting to see it. Hey.
And it's about time that they're starting to see that this socialism BS doesn't work.
Yeah.
The question is, when will California get its head out of its damn ass?
Never. They're run. California would be like 29th in the nation in gross national if they didn't have Hollywood. Hollywood brings in like 90% of their money. And Hollywood is woke. Hollywood's never going to change. They can't. There's too much money involved. That's why California is the way it is. It's run by Hollywood. Hollywood brings all the money into California.
And you can say the same with the shit heaps that Illinois and Minnesota have become.
Terrible. I don't know how people think it works. That's the thing. How do people think it's never worked anywhere?
Maybe when some of these politicians were younger, they sat down watched the 1954 OG Animal Farm cartoon and thought, maybe that could work without really realizing the point of the fact that Orwell's Animal Farm is a cautionary tale on the dangers of groupthink, socialism, and the dangers of communist revolutions going awry.
Because there's always people that think that they can tweak socialism to make it work. They could change little things in there. Basically, you're not changing anything. People don't work hard during socialism.
They work until they drop dead in socialism. And
socialism, why should you work hard? Socialism is life's participation trophy. You don't have to go to school to be a doctor when you'll make $10,000 more than a sanitation man. Why would you be a doctor?
Or in my case, why would I bother going to a community college to get an associate's degree in electrical engineering, and yet I'm stuck with a lame-ass part-time job as a cart loader at a Lowe's?
Right. Right. That's the way.
Where I barely make 4 figures annually.
Yeah, people don't get it. They buy the nonsense. Well, politics has always been that way. They sell you their used car salesman. And they got a bunch of kids coming out of college and they said, don't worry about your student loans. You're going to live for free. You're never going to have to pay big rent. Of course they're going to. Kids come out of college now. Starbucks coffee, $7. I see kids in Starbucks.
The kids are basically the sheep of Animal Farm. You know how, granted, the novel was any creature that walks on 2 legs is an enemy, and any creature that walks on 4 legs or has wings is a friend. Whereas every visual version of it is 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Later that gets perverted to 4 legs good, 2 legs better.
I know you can.
You get the picture I'm trying to paint, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't work. The young people think it works because look, if I was coming out of college now and I owed student loan debt and I made a good salary, I worked my ass off and I can't afford anything in New York, it would bother me too. It would. I came from New York. I'll never have what my parents had because things just are different now. How could I buy a home that my parents bought for $150,000? It's $1 million now. I can never afford it. Car insurance. I have 3 cars. I spend $10,000 a year. Car insurance alone. If you're young and you have a new car and you finance it with insurance, you're probably paying $700 a month. That's just for your car. That's without rent, which is at least $2,000 a month. Food, which is incredible. You have to be making a lot of money now. You really have to be making a lot of money. This isn't, 30 years ago. The world has changed.
In a lot of cases, for the worst.
Yes, Radiant, but woke is where it always ends up taking them. They thought it was more important for Daniel Craig to cry in the new James Bond.
Rather than be the stoic, chivalrous badass he usually is.
They don't want men to be that way anymore. Look at every TV commercial. Masculine is toxicity. They feel it's toxic. They want strong women around you. On the commercials, most of the time, the woman's driving with the kids in the back, right? The man's in the passenger seat. You never see the man driving anymore. Go watch that. Never. Yes, you're right, Radiant. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, we all know most politicians are effing hypocrites. They all deserve to be in the 6th mouth bulge of the 8th circle of hell with those gilded cloaks on their carcasses.
I have a feeling that it's very WWE. I think most don't hate each other. They're all making money. I know for a fact, my friend was a Secret Service agent, and he said he heard someone once say, listen, I'm going to beat you up this week in the press. You owe me one. I owe you one. Okay, Xavier Curry. This is what we're going to be seeing for the rest of the summer.
Huh.
Good on.
No, I found this interesting. Want to hear it?
Yeah, sure.
There's a rumor going around in South Park that they might retire the character of Eric Cartman by next season.
I don't follow it.
You know how Cartman's that little Archie Bunker, the ultra bigoted kid?
Oh, and they're going to do away with that too?
No, they're retiring. They're possibly retiring the character.
So they're doing away with it. Yeah, because it's too bigoted. They can't have that.
I mean, given how much of his track record or breeds that kind of quote unquote toxic masculinity, and to be fair, Cartman is a pretty toxic little bastard.
Yeah. Radiant. No, you're right. Radiant. School. I think healthcare and schooling, you should be able to go to school. I totally agree with you. And I totally agree. Not free, but you have to make it affordable. You can't, you go to NYU and the graduates costing you $350,000. You're absolutely right. What are you going to come out with? Yeah, you're right. You'll never be able to buy a home. You'll never be able to buy anything. They're showing a nice view of the bank.
We're still in the 7th, right?
Yeah. Just the
Remind me
team is
again when we
dead.
put Mania back in the damn rotation.
William, I totally agree with you.
Remind me again why Mania's back in the damn rotation.
Because he had one good outing. The system is rigged, Bayonet.
When is it never rigged? Seriously, when is the when are either the public or private schooling systems never rigged?
No, you're right. Anywhere where there's big money, there's master chef. Really? Yeah, everything's raw. I'm sick of it now.
Especially now that we're finding out that many of the people in Congress won on, especially Democrats, won their elections on duplicate processed votes.
Oh, did they?
Mm-hmm. Which means many of these wins should be null and voided.
Yeah, good luck with that.
It's either that or the vote, or those at the polls that did that, they can be put under arrest for conspired to treason against the country and put to you know what. Know what I mean?
It's you know what? It's too far for all that. You got too many focus groups that have a lot of power now.
Then eliminate the focus groups.
Can't. That's racist.
Isn't everything racist?
Yeah, it is. It's terrible, though. Really terrible.
And then hunt Soros down and get rid of him and his son, and his 2-bit half-ass son.
It's terrible. The best, the funniest thing I ever saw.
There is a head to this snake. It's Soros. Cut him down, and all the funding goes down the tube for these focus groups.
Well, the funniest thing that I ever saw was Joe Biden screaming about oligarchy and billionaires ruining the world. And the next day, he gave the American Medal of Freedom to George Soros, the biggest oligarchy.
And the biggest snake in the grass.
Right? So your billionaires are ruining the country, so you give the biggest honor that an American can get
to a globalist piece of scum who wasn't even born in America. And
What
a
is he,
Nazi simp, and he was a Nazi simp to boot.
What is he, a Hungarian?
Yes. And he was a Nazi simp to boot.
The Simpsons did everything they could to make fun of religion, and no one stood up for that. Yet the moment they have Apple be Apple, it's terrible. It's a joke, Radiant. And how did we get here? That now it's infiltrated sports.
Scum like Obama, Soros, the Clintons.
For God's sakes, you have a black national anthem. What the fuck is that about? What is that about? Why does people have a separate anthem? I've never heard such bullshit in all my life. This is America. If you don't like it, get the fuck out. Go leave if you don't like it. What's next? It's ridiculous. So this has been a dead Met day. My God.
But given health issues and the weather conditions, health and safety issues with air quality and the weather conditions, can you blame it for being a dead day?
No. Not at all.
I mean, I get why they've moved the last 2 games up. It's for health and safety reasons, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't blame them. God is scary. You know why they removed it? Because God is what makes families think alike. How are you going to make children go against their parents unless you change them? Right? How could you possibly make... They don't want the nuclear family because that means the kids are like the family. They want to brainwash kids. They don't want kids following their parents. So how do you do that? You take them away from their parents. Like Harris said, why do you have to be friends with your neighbors when she wanted to put up public housing, affordable housing? Why do you have to be friends with your neighbors? Because that usually keeps crime out. That's why. Because if you don't, it becomes Planet of the Apes. That's why. And I don't mean that racially. I mean it like craziness. Everything's upside down.
Would it be specious in this case, since the whole point of those movies is apes taking over the human race and becoming the dominant species on the planet?
Planet of the Apes. Ray, Bernie Sanders has been in Russia. He went to Russia on his honeymoon. He's been in Russia more than Putin has. Does that tell you anything?
And I'm pretty sure it was Soviet Russia, not legit, not capitalist, not it was. And I'm pretty sure it was Soviet Russia, not quote unquote autocracy Russia.
Well, look, Bernie Sanders, the first question I would have asked to him is, you're a socialist. When you went on your book tour, you wrote your book. Did you take money for it? Oh, so you took the proceeds. That was okay. They don't ask the right questions because they're so afraid they'll get canceled. If you ask the wrong question, they cancel you. Everybody's afraid.
This is why we need assassins in this world. And I don't mean like actual killer assassins who kill for monetary gain. I mean like the brotherhood of assassins. Because almost every piece of scum influencer in the world today is a fucking Templar.
I've had enough of Lindor. He just got called. I've had enough of Lindor. Get him the fuck out already, please. I can't look at him anymore. He does absolutely nothing. He's challenging a pitch that's a strike.
Dumbass.
Just, you know what? Sometimes you've just moved on. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you've just moved on from players. Look, the Mets moved on from Messier when they didn't want him around anymore.
Rangers.
What?
Rangers, not Mets.
Rangers.
You said Mets.
Oh, did I? They moved away from him. They just look at the Mets when they moved away from in '84 or '83. Well, all those guys, they brought up all the young guys. They just didn't want it anymore. They're trying to, William, they want to erase history. They want to start the world new.
And that's the problem with people who think like Templars. They infiltrate, kill anyone who could potentially blow the whistle on them, and basically cover their tracks and then try to erase history for their objective goal of peace, which is peace through suppression and order.
Well, look, they think that the Constitution was written by a bunch of white men, and they feel that other groups didn't get a fair shake. Soto looks terrible. Soto doesn't look so good either anymore. His batting average has gone down, right?
Yeah. At least
he was at 300.
Somewhere at least after this series, we get to go and it doesn't get any better after this series. We go to our big hell house on Monday.
Milwaukee?
Yep.
Right, yeah, they're all communists. I don't know how it got this bad. It's unbelievable.
Did you happen to know that the Bushes and the Clintons are actually related to each other?
No, I didn't. I think someone told me that, though.
Distant cousins.
Wow.
Which is why H. Walker Bush basically threw the election in 92 to Clinton, and then when Clinton stepped down, they would cook the books so W would take over, and then they do all the crap that happened beginning in 01.
Wow. That's amazing, though. They're Democrats and Republicans.
Well, I think most Republicans are viewed as rhinos by the common sense voter these days.
No, you're right. They are. A Democrat, if you're in a Democrat party, someone could kill someone in front of you, you'll stick up for them. Not in the Republican Party. Democrats are very good at elections.
Yeah, by cheating in them.
Well, no, they stick together.
Well, they also cook the books.
Well, I don't know. I'm not there. I can't say that. But what I do know is they.
Did you watch Trump's message to the people on Thursday?
I didn't watch it.
He basically revealed how much voter fraud he uncovered in specific investigations and unloaded on it.
Well, I don't understand. How is it possible that network said they weren't going to cover it?
Because they are because some of them were part of the cover-up. Because they're deep in the Democrat Party's pockets.
Yeah. Well, look at Disney. Disney is the biggest woke organization there is. They own They owned NBC.
No, they don't. They own ABC.
Didn't they? ABC, where they owned something.
Fox. They own ESPN.
Now, well, that's ESPN is another thing, another one. Look at what's his name? Oberman?
Yeah.
A real leftist. They think it's just great sitting on there destroying our president. That's like, do you think if you constantly destroyed your boss at work, you'd have a job?
Nope.
They think it's good for the country to show every other country that we hate our leader. It's so ridiculous. And you know what the funny thing is? That's what got him elected, because they're so stupid. They don't realize that most people, he won the popular vote, yet you'll swear everyone hates him. How does everyone hate him if he won the popular vote? It's because no one will admit it because they're afraid they'll get canceled. That's why.
And that's why Trump is the king of the Trevor's axiom equation.
You what?
The Trevor's axiom equation.
What do you mean?
It's an online trolling equation.
I'm not familiar.
Basically, person A trolls person B, but it's not about person B.
Oh,
It's-
you told me that once. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, like you're the friend of the enemy. Your enemy is my friend.
Yeah, it starts with the instigation, then the overreaction from person C, which leads to the pylon from persons D through F and their own self-righteousness, who weren't trolls, but can't help but criticizing person C. This leads to a cascade effect on through persons G through N via widespread outrage, and then it becomes a fission reaction that leads to a fusion explosion of endless drama.
About right. That's what's going on. Bottom of the eighth. It looks like there's sun out there now.
Let's try and see glass half full, please. Brooklyn, at this point, the glass is completely empty.
Well, this is all I can tell you. How is it possible that most kids coming out of college are socialists? That means who's teaching them that? The professors. I'm not sending my kid to school and spending $40,000 a year so you could teach him how to vote the way you want him to vote.
Looks like the French are coming back. It's now 4-3.
Yeah, that's scary. Well, they're good.
And usually when you think of the French, you usually think of a bunch of pussies.
I think Argentina is going to win the whole thing.
And yet the irony is France lost in one of their was knocked out of the tournament in one of their most important holidays, Bastille Day.
Yeah. I didn't think this game would be that. I didn't think they'd really be up for this game, both teams.
True.
The
The soccer, baseball or the soccer game?
The soccer game.
Oh.
I'll be back in a bit. I'll be back in a minute.
Curry the bomb, 1-1 pitch. 1-2 is line to right, base hit. Bohm's on at second, at first. Or ground ball to center, never mind. Point still applies, though. Yeah, I saw that too, William. That Clay Holmes' rehab in Brooklyn got washed out today. So did the Yankee-Dodger game, supposed to happen tonight. The Yankee-Dodger game that was supposed to happen tonight also ended up getting washed out. Heck, in several spots on the East Coast, on the Atlantic Seaboard. True, lawfare and assassination attempts pushed him over, along with the bad policies by the Democrats. But when you look at Biden's policies, they weren't even his own. They were Obama's jacked up on steroids. And personally, once the SAVE Act is passed and many of these scum pieces of scum lose their elections, midterms, and beyond, what's going to happen to them? All the dark truths they've tried to hide come into the limelight. And then when they get arrested, I'd be more than content Trump going all Billy Butcher on their asses. On Obama especially. Or at least calling up Putin, giving him a flight over to the States, and then letting Putin beat up Obama. Which in front of a live television audience, with Obama begging for his life like the whiny little bitch that he is, similar to how Homelander was after he lost his powers in the season finale of The Boys, when Butcher started beating on his ass. I mean, do I think Obama will go as far as saying that to beg for his life and saying that he'll suck Putin or Trump's dicks or eat shit on live TV? No, I don't. Do I think either Trump or Putin will jam a crowbar into Obama's skull to end him once and for all? No. Yes, I do. William. If the midterms go the way through voter fraud of the Democrats, then yeah, we start the whole shenanigans of impeachment all over again. Of course, you'd also have to have, and then you'd have Trump and Putin team up, hunt down Soros, and then do the
Did you
same
get me
thing.
thrown off yet?
Nope.
I tell you, Lindor, the more I see him, the more I actually feel bad for him. I just think he's in so much trouble mentally. I think James
Blame his wife for that.
Well, he should be strong enough to handle it, though. You can't blame her for everything. He's got to man up.
I'm just saying it. In some ways, his wife is similar to the mother. I know this is a British kids book series, but have you ever heard of the Horrid Henry series?
No.
Okay, it's centered around this 13-year-old kid named Henry, and he's treated by this in the books, he's a lot more sociopathic, but the TV show that accompanied the books makes you sympathize with him because he has a very toxic family dynamic. His mother is an overblown powder keg who will blame him for everything. His father is go with the flow, and his little brother Peter is quote unquote perfect, but he's a spoiled little brat. And Henry basically he gets scapegoated by almost everyone in his peer circle outside of his buddies in a little gang he runs called the Purple Hand Gang.
Alvarez got hurt again? What happened now?
I didn't say that.
I see him squinting now already.
Oh.
He got hit? What is he swinging at? How do you swing at a ball under your ear?
Just let that one go and hit you. Right?
The midterms, the Republican will win the Senate. They're going to lose. They're going to lose the House, but they'll win the Senate.
I say they win both the House and Senate this
I don't
time.
think they'll win the House.
Well, they've got to win the House because if the SAVE Act is passed, they win the House, and there's no way the Democrats can cheat.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they're going to win it because you want them to win it. No, I think that the Republicans will win the Senate. I don't think they'll win the House. So tomorrow,
guessing they moved it up to noon for tomorrow.
Is it noon?
I mean, they moved the other 2 games up an hour. I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
1:35 start for tomorrow. That hasn't been changed yet.
It will be. It will be.
I know in Cleveland they were having a tough time also.
I know there's tornadoes and tornado watches in Baltimore.
So it is what it is. Top 9. Why didn't Sugar? There he is. He's warming up. I have no idea why, unless the Mets think they're going to score 5 runs with 2 outs remaining. Carson Benjo for 3. The Met bats have been terrible. Soto is not. You could see Soto's in a slump. His average is about 4.
Been really productive today is Tyrone Taylor.
Yeah, 15 points Soto's lost on his average in the last week and a half.
Gary he was the only one of only 3 guys to get a hit for the NL team this year.
Yeah. And the thing is that Bellinger would do well. He totally used us in the negotiations. He knew he was signing back with the Yankees. He used the Mets all he could. That's his agent, though. That's not him. You know, that's what the agent is supposed to do. Get you the most money.
True, Ray, but let's hope that does not happen.
Rays are beating the Red Sox. They might put it into their winning streak.
Bench goes down swinging, 2 down.
Four, 3 England, 81 minutes in.
People have got to stop saying every time England makes the cup and qualifies for the main tournament, it's coming home. It's coming home. Because it's not coming home. You know, the parody of that Ozzy Osbourne song, Mama, I'm Coming Home?
Mm-hmm. 2 out, 0-1. Yeah, the filibuster.
I mean,
No,
Trump...
the country's liberal now, Ray. That's the problem. The country's liberal. You have a lot of young voters now that the baby boomers are all dead.
Or most of them are dead or dying.
Yeah. 64 was the last year for the baby boomers. And you know what? They're all dying off, and the young kids are all socialists now because they're indoctrinated from the professors. And who are the professors that head of departments that are 75 years old? Those are hippies from the late 60s. And that's it. Mets lose 6-1.
To be fair, though, I don't think either team really wanted to play with these conditions.
I agree with you. It looked like they went through the motions. Just Philly went through the motions a little better. Braves are losing. Cardinals are losing. Remember the guy that kept on coming on here telling me that the Cardinals are great. Telling you, Cardinals are going to be 500 at the end of the year.
Brewers just took the lead from the Marlins. It's now 8-3 in Milwaukee.
Pittsburgh's being delayed. I wonder if that's because of smoke.
Probably.
In Cleveland, because they had a problem yesterday. Yeah, no precipitation. It's being probably delayed because of smoke. It's not raining in Cleveland. So Sean Manaea, 4 2/3, 7 hits, 4 runs, 7 strikeouts. He always strikes you out. Tree Turner had his best game of the year, pretty much. And Luzardo, what have they won? 6 of his last 7 or 7 of his last 8 starts, Philly?
Something like that. I'm surprised it's been Nola that's been the most inconsistent for Philadelphia. And he's usually the ace.
Nola's shot. Remember how good Nola was at one time?
Mm-hmm. So why not just cut the anchor and let him go?
I don't know. Well, I guess as a number 5, he's okay.
He's got a 3-8 record.
Right. That when you have a 3-8 record and you are over 500, that tells you something. Really does. So where do we go from here? Do we get a trade Monday?
I don't know. Rumors are Holmes to the Cubs. I'm hoping not. And even if we do that, who do we get out of it other than a prospect?
Yeah, I think Peralta's going to go to the Cubs. Cubs tried to get Peralta, Milwaukee wouldn't trade in the division.
Let's wait until Monday for that. Until after Monday.
There won't be anything tomorrow. They're not going to make any trades on Sunday.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Wait until after the game on Monday for that.
Yeah, and I will pop on any news. I will come on and do something for you guys. So look,
well, I'm gonna hop off.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
Saturday night's main event's in about an hour.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right.
There you go, Seth. No, you're right, Ray. It's not liberal. It's something more. It's a deep manifestation of radical beliefs. Yeah, I would trade Peralta and Rayleigh. They need a reliever also. They need a lefty. Give them Rayleigh. I would combine guys to get more. And you're going to have to do that so you don't have to pay salary. Like I would trade Holmes and Rayleigh. I would trade maybe Peralta and Minter in a combination. So, a team that really is looking to win gets a really good reliever. These guys have ERAs in the 2s. They've been terrific. And that'll get you something. I wouldn't even sign Peralta next year. I moved on past Peralta. I like the idea of Peralta. But Peralta's not the answer for the Mets. The Mets need a better pitcher than Peralta. If I were the Mets, I'd go after Skubal. If Cohen doesn't care about the money, just go sign Skubal. We'll see what happens. So, I would probably go for Skubal because Skubal definitely is a game changer. Peralta doesn't do anything for you. Even if you made the playoffs, Peralta's going 5 innings in a big playoff game. That's all he's giving. He's throwing 85, 95 pitches. You're gonna have runners all over the place. The Mets aren't good enough defensively to have a pitcher like that. When you have to have an outstanding defensive team when you have a pitcher that puts a lot of base runners on. That you can get out of it with a double play. I don't trust Lindor and Simeon. Simeon can't even Simeon can't play second base anymore. That has nothing to do with his hip. He couldn't exchange to throw to first. He got old. He got old real fast, Simeon. I'm shocked. He was playing well at the beginning of the year, but you know what? The analytics was saying that he wasn't a good fielding second baseman even early on. Very interesting. Still floods in the area today. Terrible. So we'll see what happens. No injury update on Holmes. He didn't pitch tonight. Holmes, I'm sure, will be okay. He'll throw a live batting practice probably underneath the cages tonight. 45 pitches. Try to get up to 5 innings by next week. He's going to have to be 75 pitches for the Mets will bring him back. I think he'll be really a terrific get for a team really looking to make a splash. I think that I don't know who I'd rather have. I probably would rather have Holmes than Peralta. Always a pleasure, Ray. So the Mets lose today. No big. Yeah, the Mets walked Soto. When Soto doesn't hit, the Mets have no shot. I'm used to Lindor not hitting. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for coming in. I might do a live later tonight on an unspecified subject. You'll have to be surprised. And come in later tonight. It might be 11 o'clock if you're up. It's going to be an interesting show. I was thinking about it for a while, and I think it pertains to all of us. I really do. Oh, thank you, William. And I will talk to you guys later. Hopefully you'll come in. It'll probably be about 11 o'clock, the show. See you later. Be safe.